Every night, I slather my girlfriend's feet in foul-smelling mud and sprinkle about a pound of flour over them before quickly pretending to be fast asleep. But every night, she wakes up at exactly 2 in the morning, plucks one of my hairs, and sneaks out the door. So I decided to follow the footprints she left behind. But just as I was about to find out what she was up to, I spotted a little girl on the side of the road, about to be hit by a speeding truck. In that split second, I lunged forward and threw her out of harm's way. But the impact sent me flying 10 meters away, leaving me on the brink of death. Right as my heart was about to stop beating, a cold mechanical voice echoed in my head. God-level tycoon system successfully bound. $100 billion has been deposited into host Yiquan's black card. You have unlocked the Golden Eye skill to appraise the value of everything and read human hearts, as well as Grandmaster-level martial arts skills, capable of taking on 100 men at once. Suddenly, I snapped my eyes open. I felt a surge of raw, unprecedented power flowing through my veins. I could even see and hear a Maybach speeding toward me from 5 kilometers away. In less than 2 minutes, the black Maybach screeched to a halt right in front of me. A woman with long, slender legs and black stockings rushed out of the car. She frantically pushed through the crowd, screaming, "Tanta! Tantang, where are you? Auntie!" The little girl I had just saved burst into tears. The woman rushed over and pulled Tang Tang tightly into her arms. After making sure Tang Dak only had a few scratches, she looked up at me, her eyes filled with deep gratitude. "Sir, thank you so much for saving Tang Tang.
I am Shen Yunshu of the Shen Group.
Tell me, what can I do for you? Even if it costs my family our entire fortune, I will make it happen." Yichuan stared at the woman before him. Her personal information immediately flashed across his retina. Age, 25. Identity, General Manager of the Shen Group. Net worth, over $800 billion. If this had happened before today, this would have been Yichuan's ultimate golden ticket to turning his life around in this city. To get close to the Shen family and demand a massive reward. Even the $10 billion Yichuan now possessed couldn't compare to a fraction of the Shen family's wealth. But Yichuan simply looked at her quietly and calmly said, "No need." Then, he vanished into the rainy night. Yingqiu stared at Yichuan's departing figure and turned to her assistant behind her. "Investigate him. I want everything on him on my desk in 3 minutes. He is my savior. I, Shen Yushu, will never let him just vanish like this." Meanwhile, when Yichuan returned home, his eyes locked onto the 2 portraits on the wall. Suddenly, Yichuan's golden pupil memory recall system activated. In an instant, he discovered the mastermind behind his parents' deaths was none other than his stepmother, Chen Yulan, and his girlfriend, Zhao Menyao, had been sneaking out every single night. Indeed, she was sneaking out to meet a wealthy playboy. He decided to deal with his stepmother, Chen Yulao, first, before paying Zhao Menyao a visit. He was going to make Zhao Menyao and her new rich boyfriend so destitute, they wouldn't even be able to get jobs delivering food. They would have no choice but to beg on the streets. The next morning, Yichuan set foot inside the Yi family villa. The moment Yichuan stepped inside the villa, he heard the sound of things being smashed and the hysterical screams of Chen Yulan echoing from the main hall. "Stop smashing! Stop smashing! I'll get it sorted out soon. I'll make that kid, Yichuan, sign the inheritance transfer agreement. Once he signs, this villa will be mine, and then I'll have the money to pay you back." A sharp slap cut her hysterical wailing short. Chuanpo pushed the door open and stepped inside. The living room was in absolute ruins. Kan Yuan, who was usually so arrogant, was now kneeling on the floor with disheveled hair, a bright red handprint stinging her cheek. Sitting right in the center of the living room was Brother Dao, the notorious underground loan shark boss. Behind him stood 4 thugs, clutching steel pipes. Yichuan walked in casually, completely unfazed. He strolled toward the center of the room, completely ignoring them.
Seeing Yichuan ignore him, Brother Dao
Instantly flew into a rage and barked, reaching out to slap Yichuan across the face. "So, is this that useless young master?" Yichuan snapped his head around to glare at Brother Dao. At that moment, the man's data flashed in Yichuan's mind. Target, Sambiao. Combat power, 65. Status, peak human strength. Weaknesses, extremely superstitious and suffers from a bizarre medical condition. Symptom, severe chest pain every night at midnight. Yichuan didn't even flinch. He just said calmly, "If your hand touches my face, you'll never be able to hold chopsticks again for the rest of your life."
and your angina.
So, does it strike right on the dot at 12 midnight every night?
Are you a fortune teller?
Brother Dao's hand froze instantly. Not even his closest henchman knew about this secret.
How on earth did this kid find out?
Yichuan didn't reply.
He walked straight past him toward the ransacked display shelf. He was looking for the purple sandalwood box his mother had left behind.
问请用如搜的光大道，我说没听我读。
He's the primary heir.
Force him to sign the transfer papers.
Once he does, this house is yours.
Brother Dao's eyes flickered. Faced with a debt of tens of millions, that tiny bit of fear meant absolutely nothing. His expression darkened.
Boys, pin this punk down.
If he doesn't sign today, chop off one of his fingers.
Right on cue.
4 thugs wielding steel pipes rushed straight at Ye Chuan.
With his back to them, Yi Chuan let out a sigh. Why do you always have to force my hand? Before his voice even faded, he whipped around and threw a savage sidekick. Bam! The lead thug was hit so hard it was like being rammed by a truck. He went flying 5 meters through the air, crashing violently against the wall and knocking it out cold instantly. Dead silence filled the room. The remaining 3 thugs screeched to a sudden halt, swallowing hard in sheer terror.
Yi Chuan slowly pulled his leg back.
He spotted the sandalwood box his mother had left behind, sitting by the coffee table. Gently, he wiped the dust off it. He turned around to face Chan Yulan, who was standing there completely dumbfounded.
钱有用了。
Hasn't you always wanted this house in the Ye family estate? Fine, I'll give them to you right now.
天用楼兰，福州。
Chuan looked over at Brother Da. A smirk played on his lips. He pulled out a sleek black bank card. Did you bring a card reader? Yes, I brought it. It's 58 million in total.
Gitron tossed the card over.
Swipe it. All of it. Wild ecstasy erupted in Chan Yulan's eyes. This absolute idiot is actually paying off my debt. She immediately puffed up with arrogance again. Yi Chuan, I'm glad you finally know your place. Since you paid off the debt, we're completely even now. Now get lost. This house is completely mine. But in the next second, Yi Chuan's words plunged her straight into hell. Whoever said, I was paying off your debt? He stared coldly at Chen Yulan. His eyes gleamed with dark amusement. This money is what I paid to buy out your debt. Starting right now. You'll be paying that money back to me.
卷恶袄是马骨，心满心美。
Brother Dao caught on in a heartbeat. His expression flipped completely, and he glared at Chen Yulan with pure malice. Well, Boss Qian, your new creditor is young Master Ye. Oh, by the way, young Master Ye, is anything I can do to help? Do you need me to collect the interest for you? Brother Dao was even ready to call the police on her. Standing like an untouchable deity, Yi Chuan clutched his sandalwood box, stopped at the doorway, and cast a cold glance back at Chan Yulan. I'm only giving you 2 choices. First, pack up and get out of this villa immediately. Leave with absolutely nothing. Not even a single piece of clothing is to be taken. Second, pay off every single penny you owe me within 3 days. If you're a second late, I'm calling the police. I'll sue you for fraud and embezzlement. And as for you, if you don't make sure she gets this done on time, I'll press charges against you for assault. The surveillance cameras at the entrance will be my proof. That's more than enough to make sure you both rot in prison. With that, Yi Chuan turned and strode out of the villa. Behind him, Chen Yulan's heart-wrenching wails echoed through the halls, along with the chaotic crashing sounds of Brother Dao's men tearing the place apart to clear it out. Hearing those desperate sounds, Yi Chuan stood under the bright, warm sun, feeling an overwhelming sense of satisfaction. But in the very next second, the system chimed with a new task. Spend 100 million within 2 hours. The penalty for failure. A random bodily function of the host will be permanently disabled. For example, lasting only 3 seconds forever. Staring at this penalty, Yi Chuan's mouth twitched. System, you're pretty ruthless. But then again, spending money has got to be the easiest task in the world.
Yi Chuan hailed a taxi.
Heading straight to Jiangkong's most exclusive luxury mall, SKP. The moment Yi Chuan stepped out of the cab, a cherry-red Ferrari pulled up with a deafening, arrogant roar right in front of him. The window rolled down, revealing none other than his ex-girlfriend, Zhao Mongyao. She slid down her sunglasses, her eyes filled with disdain, her eyes filled with utter contempt. Well, well, isn't this Yi Chuan? I heard you got kicked out of your house and ended up delivering food. How did you end up delivering to a high-end place like this? The security guards here don't let beggars in. The moment the Yi family went bankrupt,
赵蒙耀邓继全带来能西币
and threw herself straight into the arms of a rich heir. Looking at her, Yi Chuan didn't get angry. Instead, he smiled. Perfect. His money-spending quest was just missing an audience. You're right. I am here to beg.
Chuan adjusted his cuffs.
With a bright smile on his face. But today, I'm not begging for food. I'm begging for this entire mall. Just then the car door opened, and Zhao Mongyao stepped out, clinging to the arm of a man in a flashy Versace shirt. The man's tiny beady eyes scanned him up and down, his face dripping with disdain. Yo Yang, this that food delivery ex-boyfriend of yours? He's quite the pretty boy. Too bad he's a total broke loser. Even the air conditioning here is charged by the minute. Does a whole shift of your deliveries even buy you 10 minutes of a seat?
将苗药哭入的棉上，给个灵气质。
Yeah, one. Let me introduce you. This is my current husband, Sun Hoyu. His family is in the construction materials business. He's worth hundreds of millions. She deliberately emphasized the words, hundreds of millions, staring at Yi Chuan with a provocative glare, hoping to see insecurity, rage, or utter humiliation on his face. But she was disappointed.
Chuan just stood there calmly, his eyes as indifferent as if he were looking at thin air.
Move, Ye Chuan said, stepping forward. His tongue was completely flat.
So you want to do this the hard way, huh? Sao Hoyo was instantly infuriated by Yichuan's blatant disregard, who took a wide step forward, blocking Yichuan's path, and reached out to shove Yichuan's shoulder. But the exact moment Sun Hoyu's hand was about to touch Yichuan, a faint golden light flashed deep inside Yichuan's eyes. Sun Haoyu's information popped up. Target: Sun Hoyu. Status: second generation nouveau riche, all bark and no bite. Current gear: genuine Versace shirt. Richard Mille Room 011 watch. High quality counterfeit. Movement: domestic Dandong movement. Gucci belt. Character and finances: maxed out credit cards, robbing Peter to pay Paul. Rented a Ferrari just to chase Zhao Mengyao, with a one-day rental fee still unpaid. After reading this, a playful smirk instantly curled on Yichuan's lips. He leaned in close to San Hoyu and lowered his voice. But it was just loud enough for a few passing bystanders to hear. What a shame. The carbon fiber casing on a Richard Mille is supposed to have a random irregular pattern, but the pattern on yours is way too neat and uniform. Plus, the date window on an authentic one is perfectly aligned. It's 1:59 right now. Why don't we wait and see? At exactly 2 o'clock, let's see if your calendar actually flips over. San Haoyu's face turned pale instantly. This watch was indeed a replica he bought for 3,000 yuan. He bought it specifically to fool gold-digging girls like Zhao Mengyao. But he never expected a mere delivery guy to see right through him at a single glance. You're full of crap! This watch is real! What the hell do you know? Sun Haoyu instinctively covered his wrist, roaring to mask his cowardice.
Yo Hao, ignore this, my dog.
With that, he grabbed a bewildered Zhao Mengyao and started rushing toward the mall, clearly trying to flee the scene. Perfect. I need to buy some things inside, too. Let's go together. Yichuan followed unhurriedly behind. Haha, this is SKP. If you can even afford a single pair of socks in here, I'll eat them on the spot. Lock your words. Yichuan stepped through the revolving door and entered the air-conditioned mall lobby. The first floor of SKP was a hub for the world's most elite luxury brands, and the air was thick with the scent of expensive perfume. Welcome. The greeter at the entrance of Patek Philippe bowed politely, but when she saw Sun Hoyu and Zhao Mengyao walking in right behind him, her eyes visibly lit up. Her smile grew even warmer. Sir, ma'am. Welcome. Desperate to regain his pride, Sun Hoyu raised his voice deliberately. Bring out the most expensive watch in your store. I want to pick one for my girlfriend. As he spoke, he shot a provocative glance at Yichuan. What's a delivery guy doing in here? Just trying to enjoy the free air conditioning? Be careful not to scratch the glass counters. You couldn't afford to pay for it even if you sold your soul. Sensing who had the money, several sales associates immediately swarmed around San Haoyu, leaving Yichuan completely ignored on the side. Only a young girl, a recent graduate wearing an intern badge, hesitated before stepping up to Yichuan.
She handed him a cup of water.
Sir. Hello. Is there anything I can help you with? It's perfectly fine if you just want to look around. Her eyes were clear and sincere, showing absolutely no contempt for Yichuan's casual attire. Without even looking up, Yichuan took a sip of water and said calmly, "Did you hear that? See? I told you he was just here for the free air conditioning. Where is security? Why do you let just anyone in here?" Hearing this, Zhao Mengyao immediately gestured to a senior sales assistant, who walked over and said coldly, "Sir, if you're not planning to buy anything, please don't waste our consultant's time. There's a waiting area over there." Yichuan completely ignored the senior assistant. Instead, he looked at the young intern in front of him and gave her a gentle smile. He then pointed to the Story Skywatch in the center of the display case and swept his eyes across the row of Nautilus watches next to it. This starry sky and this entire row. I'll take them all. Suddenly, the entire showroom fell dead silent. Haha! Yo Yaoyo, did you hear that? He said he wants them all. These must add up to over 20 million, right? Has this kid lost his mind delivering food? Haha! Sun Haoyu burst into a fit of obnoxious, hysterical laughter. Sir, please stop joking around.
This is Patek Philippe.
Not a wet market. If you continue to make trouble like this, I will have security escort you out. The senior sales assistant's face instantly darkened. She was convinced that Wen was just there to cause trouble. Sir, that Starry Sky 6102P costs 2.8 million, and it requires a VIP membership. Plus, there's a waiting list and an eligibility review. The young intern was thoroughly terrified as she stammered anxiously. Eligibility? Yichuan reached into the pocket of his cheap $10 jeans and pulled out a sleek black card. He placed it gently onto the glass counter, letting it land with a soft, sharp click. Go swipe it. The pin is 6/8. If the transaction doesn't go through, I'll eat this display case.
Lichuan's voice wasn't loud.
Yet it carried an undeniable, commanding authority. The intern's hands shook as she took the card, looking desperately at the store manager for help. The manager, a seasoned middle-aged man who had seen it all, had been quietly observing Yichuan this whole time. But the moment his eyes landed on that black card, his pupils instantly shrunk to the size of pinpricks. That was the legendary Centurion Unlimited Black Card. No, wait. No. The material of this card was far more exquisite than any black gold card. This was the Supreme Dragon card, one of only 10 in the entire world. Quick, go. No, wait. Bring the credit card machine over here right now. I want to enjoy this myself. Keep acting. Who are you trying to fool with some hair salon membership card? Let's see if you can actually swipe a single cent.
Aha! Sun Haoyu was still laughing.
But the moment the transaction went through, the sound of the machine printing the receipt felt like God's final judgment. The store manager stared at the dizzying string of zeros on the receipt and almost dropped to his knees right in front of Yichuan. My esteemed sir, the transaction of 28,500,000 has been completed. We will pack these watches for you immediately. Shall we have them delivered to your estate, or no need? The store manager, holding the black card with both hands, bowed 90 degrees. His attitude was humbled to the absolute dust. Yichuan casually strapped on the $2,800,000 Starry Sky watch and shook his wrist. Just throw the rest in a bag. He'll carry them out. A bag? The store manager was stunned. Carrying watches worth tens of millions in a plain bag? Sun Haoyu and Zhao Mengyao were completely petrified. How is this even possible? Didn't the Yu family go bankrupt? Wasn't he kicked out of the house? And yet, when he swiped that card just now, he didn't even blink. Sun Haoyu felt as if his face had been slapped hard. It burned with a stinging, agonizing pain. Just moments ago, he was bragging about his fake watch worth 1,500,000. Yet this guy turned around, bought over 20 million worth of real ones, and packed them up like cheap groceries. Zhao Mengyao was even more dumbfounded, staring at the dazzling Starry Sky watch on Yutran's wrist, her gut twisted with bitter regret.
以圈了，叫萌芽的为是陈伯。
As she squeezed out a seductive smile, she shook off Sun Haoyu's hand and sidled up to Yichuan. So, you were just testing me, weren't you? In truth, I never once forgot about you. That Sun Haoyu guy was the one pestering me constantly. I don't love him at all. Get lost. Yichuan didn't even spare her glance, only spitting out that single word. Who was the one saying they'd eat their socks? He looked over at the pale-faced Sun Haoyu. Sun Haoyu took a step back, bumping hard against the counter. What do you think you're doing? My dad is. I'm not interested in your dad. Yichuan turned and walked out, passing right by the senior saleswoman who had just looked down on him. He pauses for a moment. Sir, the commission for this order. It all goes to her. Yichuan points at the young intern. As for you, I don't ever want to see your face here again. Understood. I will fire her right now. Shen, hurry up and thank this gentleman. Your commission today is enough to buy a house in Zhangjiang. Walking out of Patek Philippe, Yichuan glances at his system panel. Spent, 28,500,000. Remaining balance, 71,500,000. Remaining time, 1 hour and 20 minutes. He walks straight into the Armani flagship store next door. Welcome, sir. How can I help you today? Everything new on this floor. Size L. Give me 3 of each. Go next door to Gucci and grab those limited edition crocodile leather suitcases to pack them up. And pack 100 full sets of lumber. Send them to my delivery driver brothers so they can moisturize their hands. Over the next hour, the entire SPP mall is hit by an unprecedented earthquake. A mysterious billionaire dressed in Uniqlo is sweeping through every single luxury brand like a whirlwind. He doesn't even glance at the price tags. He only has one phrase. Swipe the card, pack it up. Amal's general manager is personally leading 20 security guards right behind him, just to carry his shopping bags.
森好友和周梦桥录开太普大片。
Trailing behind in a complete daze. Where on earth did he get all this money?
焦萌调敌手乃里地并挺而跑死。
Her eyes burning with rage. This has to be dirty money. I'm going to report him. Attention, valued customers. Think we will be closing 30 minutes early today. A VIP guest has booked the entire Sky Garden restaurant on the top floor and has invited the world-famous pianist, Lang Lang, to perform live. An entire mall gasps in shock. Yichuan stands at the top of the second-floor escalator, a smirk playing on his lips. This is just another spending mission arranged by the system. The booking fee alone cost a staggering $5 million. He glances down at his system panel. Mission accomplished. Total spent, 100,500,000. Congratulations, host, on unlocking the achievement. First splurge. Reward, a 10 times cash rebate multiplier. $1 billion in cash has been deposited into your account. The contract transferring 51% of the shares of Zhangchao XP Mall is now active. Charm plus 10. Physique plus 10. Yutron is stunned for a moment. Think KP is actually his now? Meanwhile, the mall's general manager receives a phone call. The boss.
I had no idea you were coming, sir. Please forgive my lack of respect for not welcoming you sooner.
I'm Zhao Jiwang, the general manager of SKP. You have acquired 51% of the group's shares. From now on, you call the shots here. This sudden kneel left everyone around completely speechless.
Somehow you fell flat on his butt, terrified.
Kiwan looked down at the kneeling Zhao Jiwan.
Get up. Since I'm the boss now, here is my very first order.
He pointed at Sun Haoyu and Zhao Mongyao standing nearby.
These two are ruining my shopping mood.
Throw them out. From now on, they are banned from stepping foot into any mall under the SK Group.
And that guy's wearing a fake watch. It's an eyesore.
Take it off. Move! 20 security guards pounced on them like wild beasts. Let go of me!
No, Yi-chan.
I'm Yuel.
My dad will make you pay.
I'm the one you love.
Just you wait. You'll all regret this.
Sun Haoyu was still screaming threats, but the next second, he was pinned to the ground.
They forcefully ripped off his fake watch.
With a single stomp, it was crushed to pieces.
The screams faded into the distance.
Standing at the top of the escalator,
Yutron looked down at the business empire that now belonged to him.
his phone rang with an unknown number.
Hello?
Is this Mr. Yutron? This is Shi Yunshu.
I heard you just bought SKP. I'm currently at the cafe downstairs.
Shen Yunshu. So she's been here all along.
Perfect. I'm actually getting hungry, but I don't do coffee.
I'm in the mood for some spicy hot pot.
Care to join me,
President Shen?
Of course. As long as you're willing to meet with me.
We can eat whatever you like.
Chikuan hung up.
A grin spreading across his face.
It seems this game is about to get a whole lot more interesting.
The night over Zheng City fell like a thick shroud of darkness, pierced only by the neon glow and chaotic buzz of Hansing Street. A Rolls-Royce Phantom with the license plate Jiaonai 8888.
Like a snooty noble making a mockery of the slums, it slowly and carefully rolled over the pog-cooled, waterlogged street, finally stopping right in front of Fatty Sister's spicy hot pot. The automatic doors slid open, and Shen Yushu stepped out. Sitting on a red plastic stool by the curb, Yi Chuan looked up. He was snapping a pair of disposable chopsticks apart. What's the matter?
Are you too high and mighty for this place, President Shen?
Piled up next to him were dozens of luxury shopping bags from his spree at SKP. Yi Chuan blew the dust off another plastic stool.
Have a seat. The beef meatballs here are the chewiest in all of Zhengkan.
Shen Yunshu took a deep breath
And sat down right across from him.
You have quite a sense of humor, Mr. Ye.
Shen Neilu stared at him.
I thought a billionaire who can buy out all of SKP on a whim
would have much higher standards for his dining experience.
Money is meant to buy you. Freedom?
Not to shackle you down.
Order up. President Shen.
We agreed. It's your treat.
Don't hold back just because it's cheap.
Shen Yunshu looked at the menu. Meatballs for 2 yen and Kalpan for 1 yuan.
Her mind was a whirlwind of mixed emotions. She had run a background check on Yechuan just 24 hours ago. He was a delivery guy busting his tail in the pouring rain for a few measly bucks. But now, he sat right across from her,
exuding an aura so deep and commanding. Not even a seasoned businesswoman like her couldn't read him at all.
Just get a bit of everything,
Shen Yunshu said, putting down the menu.
Mister, you.
Let's get down to business.
Regarding how you saved Tang Tong
and your acquisition of SK. No business talk at the dinner table.
Boss lady, 2 bowls, mild spicy.
And extra vinegar. You got it.
Ai Chuan, you brought your girlfriend today?
She's gorgeous.
She looks a bit on the thin side, though.
So make sure she eats up.
This meal is on me.
Shen Yurushu's face flushed red all the way to her ears, and she waved her hands frantically. No.
No, we're not. I'm not. I'm her creditor.
Yocha chimed in with a smirk. He reached for the vinegar bottle, poured a generous splash into Shen Yunshu's bowl, and said, "Taste it. The soul of this place is all in the vinegar." With Yichuan throwing her off like this,
Shen Yunshu's tense, defensive negotiating posture instantly deflated. He hesitated for a moment,
but still picked up a piece of baby cabbage and put it in her mouth. It was spicy and scalding hot. The sharp, sour kick hit her senses, forcing a soft cough out of her.
Tears almost welled up in her eyes. "Slow down. No one is going to steal it from you,"
Yichuan said, handing her a tissue.
Shen Yushu took the tissue
and wiped the corner of her mouth, looking a bit flustered.
In that moment, she let down her usual impenetrable armor, revealing a soft, down-to-earth human side.
Suddenly, Shen Yunshu spoke up, her voice softening. "Yuchuan, thank you. Not just for saving Tang Tang. And the truth is, SKP has been blocking our company's ad space renewal."
If you hadn't acquired SKP,
The Shen Group's new product launch next month would have fallen through completely.
As Chuan chewed on a beef fork.
He activated his golden system. Streams of red data flashed wildly above her head. Target, Shen Yunshu. Identity, president of the Shen Group.
Current status? Extremely anxious.
At the end of her rope.
Core Crisis 1. Broken capital chain. Direct and traply competitor Tiansheng Capital, facing a funding gap of 800 million. Core Crisis 2. Internal traitor. Design director Shou Peng has been bought out by Tiansheng Capital.
Plan to leak their reserve price at tomorrow morning's bidding meeting. Core Crisis 3. Signed a betting agreement with the family elders. If she fails to turn a profit this quarter, she will be stripped of her CEO position
and forced into a political marriage with the eldest son of Tiansheng Capital. Countdown to collapse. 12 hours. Yu Chuan paused mid-Ju.
How miserable. She's barely a female CEO anymore. She's more like a prime target being roasted over an open fire.
Yuan set down his chopsticks
And looks at her with a half smile. If you don't mind me being blunt, the venue for the launch shouldn't be your main worry right now, should it? From what I know.
I'm afraid your company doesn't even have enough cash on its books to pay the rental fee for SKP.
Shen Yunshu stared intently at Yichuan.
How do you know that? Our financial status is a top secret matter.
Even the vice president has no idea.
Are you a corporate spy?
I'm your savior. I'm not a spy. Yu Chuan pulled out a tissue. He naturally reached over and took her hand,
Gently wiping away the grease on the back of it.
His fingers were long and warm. The moment they touched Shen Yunshu's ice-cold skin, she flinched, as if she'd been shocked, but she didn't pull her hand away. And I don't just know you're broke. I also know
The reason you're in such a miserable state
is because you have a traitor. A mole close to you. Shen Yunshu's face turned deathly pale. Just then, Shen Yunshu's phone vibrated frantically. The caller 499 read, Design Director, Zhou Peng.
Shen Yunshu glanced at Yichuan.
Jiquan gestured for her to go ahead, and she answered the call.
Hello, Director Zhou?
How are tomorrow's bidding documents coming along? An anxious, guilt-ridden voice came from the other end. President Shen, something terrible has happened. Our servers were just hit by a hacker attack.
What? All the original designs and data for the Oasis project have been completely locked down and destroyed?
Even the backup hard drive is ruined. Shen Yunshu stood up abruptly, knocking over the red plastic stool behind her with a loud crash.
How is that even possible? Our firewall is top of a line.
And the backup drive was locked in your safe.
How could it be ruined? I don't know either. President Shen, the bidding starts tomorrow at 9 in the morning. It's physically impossible to redo it now. It's like Tiansheng Capital already had their proposal ready to go.
We're finished. The phone slipped from Shen Yunshu's hand, crashing onto the floor. It was as if her spine had been ripped out. She slumped down, trying to sit, forgetting that the stool had already flipped over.
Just as she was about to fall onto the greasy ground,
Yichuan caught her with one arm while calmly picking up the phone with his other hand. He spoke to Director Li on the other end, who hadn't hung up yet. Nice acting. The Oscars owe you a golden statue. There was a stunned silence on the other end.
Who are you?
Where's President Shen? Yu Chuan sneered into the receiver. Who I am doesn't matter.
What matters is you, Zhou Peng.
You better pray, right now, that the $20 million in hush money Tiansheng Capital gave you
Is enough to buy you a decent wheelchair.
With that, Yichuan hung up the phone and threw it back onto the table,
Shen Yunshu leaned into Yichuan's arms.
her entire body trembling and her eyes completely vacant. At this moment, she was no longer some icy CEO, but just a completely helpless woman. It's all over.
That was our last chance to make a comeback. Without the design drafts,
Tomorrow, we'll be in breach of contract.
I'll have to pay $300 million in damages.
Shen family will eat me alive.
What's there to panic about?
Yu Chuan's voice sounded exceptionally clear in the noisy night market, calm and steady. It carried a reassuring magic. He gently pulled Shen Yunshu upright,
Placed both hands on her shoulders, and forced her to look into his eyes.
If the designs are gone, we can draw them again. If the money is gone, we can make it again.
As long as we're still breathing.
The game isn't over. It's too late to draw them again. Shen Yunshu cried, her eyes turning red, as tears welled up in her eyes.
There are less than 10 hours left. That was the blood, sweat, and tears of dozens of designers working for 3 months. Who says it's too late?
Yichuan let go of her.
Turning to pick up the pile of designer bags on the ground, his eyes flashed with the thrilled gleam of a hunter spotting its prey.
Let's go. Go? Go where?
To your company. Since that Zhou Peng guy claims the data is destroyed, then I'm going to show him what a miracle looks like.
Tonight we're going to play a little game of Hunt the Traitor.
Half an hour later, at the Shen Group headquarters in the Jiangqiu CBD, The entire building was brightly lit. The design department was an absolute chaos. Dozens of designers were staring at blank computer screens, pulling their hair out. Some were crying, while others were cursing under their breath. Director Chopin was standing right in the center, putting on a big show of directing the tech team's emergency repairs. But out of the corner of his eye, he kept glancing at his watch. A barely noticeable smirk played on his lips. As long as he got through tonight, and Shen Yushu fell from power tomorrow, he'd be able to take his money and join Tanshan Capital as their vice president. Just then, a commotion broke out at the door.
President Shen is here!
Zhou Peng immediately masked his face with a look of pure devastation and rushed over.
President Shen, you're finally here.
I've let you down. I am so sorry. But he didn't see the broken, desperate Shen Yunshu he had anticipated.
Instead, Shen Yunshu walked in with sharp, confident strides.
Though her eyes were still slightly red, her aura was even more formidable and commanding than usual.
And right beside her was a young man clad in Armani,
yet carrying a takeout bag of spicy hot pot in his hand. President Shen.
Who is this? Zhou Peng froze. Oh, I'm just here to deliver food,
Qichuan said casually, tossing the bag of hot pot onto the conference table. Then, he walked straight up to Zhou Peng.
That gaze of Ye Chuan sent a chill right down Zhou Peng's spine.
President Shen, we're in a crisis, and you're bringing an outsider in here to mess around?
Director Zhou.
Your acting is really a bit too over the top. Qichuan pointed to the row of blacked-out computer screens.
You claim the servers were hacked?
And all the data was wiped out? Of course, Zhou Peng stammered, bracing himself.
And the tech department is working on repairs right now. Is that it?
Di Guan turned and walked over to one of the main control computers. His fingers flew across the keyboard in a rapid blur.
God-level hacking skills. Permanently unlocked. Invading Liwan network. Tracking data flow.
Restoring source code. The blacked-out screen, once filled with corrupted code, suddenly began to flicker rapidly.
Lines of green code scrolled down at a dizzying speed.
The tech supervisor standing nearby was utterly speechless.
What kind of hand speed is this?
He's writing a reverse tracking program. In less than 1 minute,
Glack, Yichuan slammed the enter key.
The giant screen, once pitch black, instantly lit up.
But instead of the blueprints, it displayed a playback of security footage and screenshots of a highly detailed chat log. On the screen, Zhou Peng was clearly seen plugging a flash drive into the main server half an hour ago and sending a message to someone saved as President Zhao of Tansheng that read, "It's done.
The data has been deleted.
That stupid woman Shen Yunshu is totally finished."
The entire room fell dead silent. Every designer's eyes stabbed into Zhou Peng like sharp knives.
Zhou Peng's face instantly turned a dark purple.
This is fake. It's edited.
I'm being framed. President Shen, you'd rather believe a delivery got over me. Looking at the big screen, Shen Yunshu felt like a knife was twisting in her heart. Security. Thin this backstabbing traitor down. Call the police immediately. The security guards, who had already reached their limit, rushed forward. Shen Yunshu, you dare arrest me? Without my design team,
You'll still be dead meat tomorrow.
haha, let's see how you turn things around now. Zhou Peng was still laughing hysterically as he was dragged away.
Catching the mole was satisfying, but the design drafts were truly gone.
Once again, a hopeless silence fell over the office. The IT director asked the expert in a weak voice, "Since you can recover the surveillance footage, can you recover the design drafts too?"
We were physically shredded.
It can't be recovered.
Chitron shook his head.
Everyone's hearts sank to the very bottom.
Wait,
but then Yutron's tone shifted. He walked over and sat at the head of the conference table,
opened up a box of spicy hot pot,
and said nonchalantly, "Those garbage designs
are no big loss.
Using trash like that to bid would have been utterly embarrassing."
What did you say?
The design director's assistant flared up.
Those took 3 months of our hard work.
Yichuan ignored the angry crowd.
Instead, he looked at Shen Yunshu. "Got a stylus? And some paper?" Shen Yunshu was taken aback for a moment. She instinctively handed over her tablet and stylus. "What are you going to do?"
Yichuan took the pen and spun it elegantly between his fingers.
At that moment, the system store in his mind activated again. Ready to exchange reward? In an instant, Yutron's eyes lit up with a flood of brilliant colors that completely transcended this era. Bold lines, breathtaking composition. It was a mind-blowing visual shock straight from the future.
Since you all think that trash was a masterpiece,
Chuquan said calmly, his pen flying across the screen.
Then tonight, I'll show you what true art really is. Over the next hour, everyone in the Shen Group's design department watched their entire worldview shatter and rebuild from scratch.
The man they just sneered at as a mere delivery boy was now working like a human AI printer. His hands moved so fast they were nothing but a blur. One after another,
Breathtaking, mind-blowing concept designs came to life on the screen. The lighting, the perspective. This is a perfect fusion of cyberpunk and traditional Chinese aesthetics. This lighting. Oh my god, it's divine. This is an absolute masterpiece. The assistant who was just mocking Yichuan was now literally on his knees, offering him a bottle of water. As the final key art was completed, Yuan tossed the stylus aside and rubbed his wrist. On the screen was a magnificent poster titled Rebirth. Out of the ruins, a mechanical rose was blooming defiantly against a torrential downpour. The mood of the piece felt exactly like Yichuan himself, and exactly like Shen Yunshu, fighting her way out of a desperate corner. Shen Yunshu stared at the masterpiece as tears silently rolled down her cheeks. Yuchuan. She turned her head to look at him, now quietly eating his cold, spicy hot pot. In that single moment, her emotional defenses completely crumbled. Don't get emotional just yet, Yichuan said, wallowing a meatball. The designs are ready. Now, it's time to reel them in. At tomorrow morning's bidding war, I'm going to make Qian's capital spit out everything they stole from us, with interest. He stood up, walked over to the floor-to-ceiling window, and looked down at the glittering night lights of Zheng City. President Shen, do you have the courage to play a high-stakes game with me?
Shen Yunshu walked over to his side.
Standing right next to him. Huh? The hesitation in her eyes was completely gone, replaced by a fierce, unwavering resolve. Why wouldn't I dare? Even if we lose, the worst that happens is I go deliver takeout with you.
Yichuan smiled.
Delivering takeout? Yeah, I don't think so. He turned his head. After all, my passenger seat is strictly reserved for my future wife. Meanwhile, at the Jiangcheng International Convention and Exhibition Center, today was the final bidding day for the Future City Commercial Complex, a landmark project in the Jiangsheng New District. This was a massive $10 billion gold mine, and whoever won it would become the undisputed business tycoon of Jiangcheng for the next 10 years. An incredibly flashy, neon green Lamborghini roared in with a deafening engine rev, aggressively pulling into a VIP parking spot, plantedly parking way over the line. The scissor doors swung upward, and a young man in a sleek white suit stepped out, with his hair slicked back and shining immaculately. It was Wu Ziquan, the arrogant heir of Tansheng Capital. Following closely behind him was a fawning Shopeng, the former design director of the Shen Group, who had just been bailed out the night before. Don't worry, young Master Wu.
Shen Yunshu is completely finished this time.
Zhou Peng had deep, dark circles under his eyes, and his face was still visibly swollen, yet his eyes gleamed with malicious excitement. I deleted those files myself. I even used a powerful magnet to wipe the hard drives clean, unless a god descends from the heavens. She has nothing to show today but a blank slate to make an absolute fool of herself. Well done. Once the Shen family goes bankrupt, that proud woman Shen Yunshu will be entirely at my mercy. Just as they were talking, a black Audi A6 slowly pulled in. It was Shen Yunshu's car. Compared to the surrounding supercars, this car looked incredibly low profile and almost pitifully cheap.
Gujian let out a loud whistle,
striking over with Zhou Peng to block her car door. Well, well, well. If it isn't our beautiful Miss Chen. The car door opened, and Shen Yunshu stepped out. After a long night of agonizing worry and rebuilding herself, he looked surprisingly sharp and confident today. The anxiety from yesterday had completely vanished from her eyes. From the driver's seat, a young man stepped out right behind her. It was Yichuan. To match Shen Yunshu's style today, he had specially changed into a dark gray, smart casual suit. He wore no tie, yet exuded an effortless, laid-back elegance. In his hand, he carried a sleek, silver briefcase. Young Master Zhu. The good dog doesn't block the path, Shen Yunshu said coldly. Still talking tough when you're on the brink of ruin, Shen Yunshu. I heard your design department was crying for their mommies last night. You guys even burned through your servers, didn't you? What? You here today to officially throw in the towel and beg me to buy out your company? He greedily scans Shen Yunshu's body and lowers his voice. You know, if you just come to my room tonight, I might just bump up the buyout price for you. Before he can even finish, a hand suddenly reaches out, waving in from a Wu Ziquan's face like shooing away a fly. Hey, whoever you are over there, mind your bad breath, will you? You're suffocating my boss. Who the hell do you think you are? Do you really think you have a right to speak here? You're nothing but a driver. You Master Wu. That's the delivery guy from last night. He's the jinx who ruined our plans with his big mouth. A delivery guy? Wu Zichuan doubles over with laughter. Shen Yunshu. Are you out of your mind? You brought a delivery boy to bid on a $10 billion project? What? Are you planning to bribe the judges with some cheap takeout? Yichuan activates his golden cupel. Target, Wu Zichuan. Status, extremely confident. Stage 2 kidney deficiency. Belongings, bidding floor price document hidden in his inner pocket, and a bottle of little blue pills. Note,
has bribed the head judge of the panel, Professor Liu. Secret signal. Touching his nose. Bank transfer records are stored on his encrypted phone.
Bribing the judges?
Interesting.
Young Master Wu, isn't it?
Tell me, did those stamina pills you took last night expire? Your energy feels completely off today. I'm afraid a major disaster is heading your way, and old academics like Professor Liu have massive appetites. That little bribe of yours might not do enough to feed the wolf. Wu Chuan's smile instantly freezes, and his pupils contract in shock. How does this punk know about my stamina pills? And more importantly, how does he know about Professor Liu before he can even react?
Chu Chuan grabs Shen Yushu's arm.
And walks straight toward the elevators, stepping around them like a pile of trash.
Qishuan, what did you just say to him? Why did he look so pale? Oh, nothing. Just read his fortune. President Shen, when we get in there, you just focus on your presentation. Leave the rest to me. Inside the bidding hall, 7 minutes later, 5 judges sit solemnly on the main stage. The balding elder in the middle is none other than Professor Liu, a leading authority in the industry.
The audience is packed with the biggest names in Jiangchang's business world. Reporters from Changzhou News have packed the back rows with their cameras.
Next, we welcome Tanshan Capital to present their proposal. As the host finishes speaking, Wu Tuxian walks onto the stage, followed by Zhou Peng. Although Yu Chuan had startled him moments ago, once he steps onto his home turf, Wu Zichuan instantly regains his arrogant, overbearing attitude. Honored judges and distinguished guests.
The proposal we, Tanshan Capital, are presenting today is called Oasis City.
We will build a sky garden that integrates ecology,
Environmental protection, and advanced technology.
As the slides flip, a sudden uproar erupts from the audience. That's our original proposal. Her clutches are closed tightly,
Her knuckles turning white.
Indeed. Even though Zhou Peng deleted the original files from Shen's group, he had secretly brought a copy of them to Wu Xiwan.
This so-called Oasis City has only changed its name. The content is a pixel-for-pixel copy of the design draft previously created by Shen's group.
Shen Yunshu grits her teeth in anger.
This double helix sky bridge
Is our original, patented design.
and this glass curtain wall that utilizes photosynthesis is our exclusive concept.
Original? Sitting below the stage,
Yu Quan sneers.
he pulls out his phone.
System command. Hack into the venue's projection system. Connection successful.
Since you want to play dirty and plagiarize,
I'll make sure everyone sees exactly what you've stolen.
this is the crystallization of our team's hard work over the past 6 months.
And absolutely unique. Just then,
The giant screen suddenly flickers. It splits into a massive side-by-side comparison. On the left is the Oasis City presentation, currently being shown.
on the right, unbelievably, is a video recording of an internal meeting at Shen's group from 3 months ago.
The entire hall instantly falls dead silent.
Then,
The crowd erupts into complete chaos. Holy crap! Isn't that the old proposal from Shen's group? Even the color scheme is identical. They literally just stole it. I can't believe a massive corporation like Tanshan Capital would stoop to this.
up on the stage, Zhou Peng looked like a choked duck.
His voice cut off instantly.
He stared at the giant screen in sheer horror, cold sweat instantly drenching his back.
What is going on here?
Who switched the screen?
Turn it off! Shut it down right now! What the hell are you doing? Keep this up, and I will ruin you.
I didn't touch anything.
The computer is completely locked up. I think we've been hacked. But before they could even scramble to pull the plug,
A line of blood-red text flashed across the giant screen. The thief's epitaph.
originality is dead, and it's all because you people can only live off of stolen scraps.
Then, the screen cut to black, and everything returned to normal.
Ji Quan sat in the audience, quietly pocketing his phone like a nameless hero, as he casually unwrapped a mint that Shen Yushu had brought him.
Is this considered a broadcast glitch?
Tan Yumshu stared wide-eyed at the chaos, all her anxieties vanishing into thin air.
Preaching down on the candy. Yu Chuan smiled.
No, this is just a warm-up.
Just look at Professor Mu.
His face has completely gone pale. Sure enough, up on the judges' panel, Professor Liu was squirming as if he were sitting on a bed of nails.
He had taken a massive bribe to give Tanshan a high score. But now, with irrefutable proof of plagiarism displayed right in front of hundreds of people, he dared to defend them now. His reputation would be utterly ruined by tomorrow morning.
Professor Liu braced himself and picked up the microphone.
Testing.
There are serious discrepancies regarding Tanshan Capital's proposal. We will put their presentation on hold for now. Next presenter, please.
Meanwhile, whose ship one from the Shen group slunk off the stage in disgrace?
You little punk. This was your doing, wasn't it?
Just you wait. The second you walk out those doors, I'll make sure you end up in a ditch.
Is that how you beg for mercy?
You should grab some tissues while you're at it.
I'd hate for everyone to see you crying like a baby. Shen Yushu took a deep breath and stood up. At that moment, all eyes in the room were locked on her.
Some pitied her. Some were just there for the drama. and others were highly skeptical. After all, the clashing proposals drama earlier had everyone dying to see the Su group's new pitch.
Shen Yushu walked onto the stage. She wasn't holding a flash drive.
Nor did she bring any presentation notes. She just stood there quietly in the center of the stage,
The spotlight washing over her.
making her look like a queen about to be crowned. Ladies and gentlemen, Shen Yunshu's voice rang out, clear and resolute. You all just saw that so-called urban oasis. Yes, that was actually a discarded draft from our Shen group. Why did we trash it? Because it's completely outdated.
The crowd gasped in shock.
Sure, that other design was a blatant ripoff, but it was still considered top tier in the industry. To save everyone some time,
Listen, Chi. Let's begin.
Zhichuan nodded.
and opened a sleek silver metal briefcase. But instead of pulling out documents, he retrieved a fist-sized black crystal. This was the portable holographic projector, 2035 edition, which he had redeemed from the system in the last round. It cost $5 million.
Chiquan placed the crystal right in the center of the stage.
What on earth is that? People craned their necks, straining to get a look. The next second, a beam of eerie blue light shot up into the sky, instantly spreading and enveloping the entire convention center hall. The once bright venue instantly went dark. In its place, a massive, lifelike virtual city floated in midair. No more boring PowerPoints, no more flat 2D renderings. It was as if everyone had suddenly traveled through time and space, finding themselves right in the middle of a cyberpunk-style metropolis of the future. Massive neon signs flashed overhead, and you can even see the facial expressions of virtual pedestrians walking on the streets. And right in the very center of it all, a building resembling a blooming mechanical lotus rotated slowly. That was the Shen Group's brand new proposal, the Rebirth Lotus. My God, what kind of technology is this?
Is that glasses-free 3D?
No, that's a full holographic projection. What am I even looking at? Is this a live Hollywood blockbuster set? This design is absolutely mind-blowing. Compared to this, that urban oasis from earlier is nothing but a backyard outhouse. The whole room erupted. Reporters went wild, snapping pictures like crazy. The flashing lights turned the entire hall as bright as day. Standing in the center of that massive virtual lotus, Shen Yunshu looked like a breathtaking flower goddess. She reached out and gently swiped the virtual interface. In an instant, the entire building disassembled and reconstructed itself, showcasing its breathtaking internal commercial layout and flow. We don't define the future. We create it. There was absolutely no suspense. This was an absolute slaughter, a complete dimensional beatdown from a whole different level. Professor Liu, who was just looking for trouble, now stood there with his mouth wide open. His dentures looked ready to fall out in the face of such a miracle. If he dared to utter a single word of criticism, the fanatical crowd would probably tear him to shreds. I give it a perfect score. This isn't just a design, it's a masterpiece, an epoch-making masterpiece. Another judge stood up, clapping enthusiastically. Thunderous applause erupted through the hall, refusing to die down. Downstage, Wu Zichuan slumped in his chair, pale as a ghost. He knew it was too late. No matter how much money he had, or how powerful his connections were, it was all a joke in the face of this absolute, crushing dominance. We won! Looking at the ecstatic crowd, Shen Yunshu's eyes welled with tears. She looked over at Ye Chuan. He was playing with that $5 million crystal in his hand and winked at her. Following. Way to go, boss lady. The bidding was over. The Shen Group had secured the Future City project with absolute dominance. As soon as the news broke, Shenren Group's stock, which had been crashing to its limit, instantly shot up in a straight line, locking at the daily limit. President Shen, was that holographic technology developed in-house by your company? President Shen, who was the lead designer behind that project? Could you introduce us? Shen Yunshu struggled to push her way through the crowd, looking around frantically. She was looking for Yutuan, but the man of the hour, the one responsible for this massive victory, is nowhere to be found. In a dark alleyway behind the exhibition center, Chiquan leans against the brick wall, casually taking a drag from his cigarette. Kneeling right in front of him are two men. One is Zhou Peng, beaten black and blue. The other is Wu Zichuan, trembling in absolute terror. Surrounding them are over a dozen towering brutes in black suits and sunglasses. Leading the pack is Brother Dao, the notorious loan shark who just swore loyalty to Yiquan last night. He's already been appointed as the chief of security for Yuan's operations. Master Yu. Grandpa Yu. I was wrong. I was completely blind to your greatness. Where did all of Wu Ziquan's arrogance go? He is completely powerless now. Staring at the thick steel pipe in Brother Dao's hand, he literally wets his pants in fear. Please, spare me. I'm the only heir of the Wu family. Just tell me how much you want. I'll give you whatever you ask for. Huh. Yutron blows out a ring of smoke and squats down. Money? Do you really think I'm short on cash?
Yichuan chuckles softly.
He pulls out a checkbook. Think about a string of numbers and slaps it right onto Wu Ziquan's face.
Here is 10 million.
Consider this compensation for the mental distress your delivery boy insult caused me. But of course, you are the one paying me, not the other way around.
Wu Zhaoan phrases, completely utterly stunned.
I have to pay you? That is correct. I don't need the money. I am, but I absolutely despise it when people owe me.
Brother Dao, show young Master Wu how to write a proper promissory note.
As for the interest rate, match it to the rates he got on his gambling debts in Macau.
You got it, young Master Ye. Leave it to me. I know this business inside and out. Brother Dao grins menacingly, stepping forward. Yichuan stands up. Turning his back on the agonizing screams behind him, he walks out of the alley. Just as he steps onto the main street, his phone rings. Yutuan, where are you?
The victory banquet is about to start. You're the guest of honor. We are not starting without you.
Forget the celebration. The metaphysi.
I don't really care for those kinds of events.
Xuan looks up at the massive, glowing digital billboard of the Shen Group towering over the downtown skyline.
President Shen. Don't forget our little deal. Make sure you keep that passenger seat open for me. Shen Yushu fell silent on the other end of the line for 2 seconds. Yutuan, I don't want to just be your co-pilot.
I want you to be the driver.
And drive us for the rest of our lives. Would you be willing? It was practically a confession of love.
邂逅 froze.
Suddenly, a piercing red alert blared inside his head.
Warning! Warning! System has detected excessive use of future technology by the host.
This has drawn the attention of the underworld. An S-class crisis has arrived. The world's top assassin organization, Black Mamba, has accepted the contract.
The target is Yichuan. The bounty is $100 million.
The employer is the patriarch of the Wu family, Wu Zixuan's father. Countdown. In 30 minutes, the first wave of assassins will hit.
That old dog from the Wu family. You beat the kid, and now the father shows up. He spoke into the phone to Yunshu. Yushu,
the celebration dinner is canceled. Go home immediately. Lock all your doors and windows. Deploy all of Brother Da's men around your villa.
No matter what you hear, do not come out.
What's wrong?
Yeah, Tron, don't scare me.
It's nothing, Yuchuan said, looking up at the black helicopters circling in the distant sky. Just some trash that needs to be swept away. This time, I'm going to let the entire underworld of Jancheng know who the real king is. In that old industrial area, slated for demolition, the air felt as heavy as lead. The black helicopter didn't open fire immediately. Instead, like a circling vulture, after circling twice, it hovered right above an abandoned, unfinished building a kilometer away.
Yichang stood at the empty intersection.
The cigarette between his fingers had burned to the end. Come out, Yichuan said, flicking the cigarette butt away. As a top-tier international assassin organization, do you really have to hide in the gutters like rats? A dead silence fell over the area. Suddenly, a faint, whistling sound pierced the air, like the soft sigh of the Grim Reaper. Had he been an ordinary man, that custom armor-piercing bullet would have blown his skull wide open. But Yutron was no ordinary man.
Through the vision of his golden eyes,
The bullet flying toward him at Mach 3 was trailing a long plume of searing heat.
moving as slow as a snail.
Chuchuan didn't even budge. He just tilted his head slightly, a movement so minor it was practically imperceptible. The bullet grazed the tips of his hair, slamming violently into the concrete pillar right behind him, leaving a bowl-sized crater. Is that the best you can do?
Wang looked up.
His gaze piercing through 500 meters of space to lock onto the sniper, Black Mamba, who was hiding behind a billboard. Nothing but a joke. High 100 meters away, on the roof of an abandoned building, the sniper, codenamed Fushi, stared through his night vision scope at the man who was still standing in place, casually flipping him the bird. Cold sweat instantly drenched his combat gear. Captain, report. The target dodged it. I repeat, he dodged. That was an M200 sniper rifle from 500 meters away. How is that even possible? Shut up, Team B. Team C, move in. Kill him on sight. Don't give him a single second to breathe. As the order went down, 12 dark, ghostly figures instantly lunged out from the surrounding shadows. They were clad in full exoskeleton tactical armor, armed with silenced tactical submachine guns and high-frequency vibro blades. Moving in perfect unison, they closed in on Yechuan like a pack of silent wolves from all directions. Staying in the dead center of the encirclement, Yechuan didn't show a hint of fear. Instead, his face twisted into a grin of bloodthirsty excitement. System, I want to buy some gear. I'll take Bajikwan. They had ducked. Downloading Bajikwan Grandmaster Combat Techniques.
Download complete. A terrifying wave of heat instantly surged through Yiquan's entire body.
His bones popped and crackled like firecrackers.
His lean muscles instantly tightened. Every single muscle fiber seemed packed with enough raw power to shatter mountains.
By now, the two lead assassins had already reached him. Two gleaming, high-frequency vibro daggers lunged from both sides, aiming straight for Yutron's throat and heart.
A cold, detached voice rang in their ears. Too slow.
Baji! I ran shoulder strike. Yutron didn't even throw a punch.
He merely dropped his shoulder slightly
And violently slammed into the assassin on his left.
with a sickening, bone-crunching thud. The assassin, who was wearing Kevlar body armor and even outfitted with an exoskeleton suit,
Was hit head-on, as if by a speeding bullet train.
he went flying backward like a cannonball,
Slamming violently through a red brick wall by the roadside.
The remaining 10 assassins skidded to a halt.
Their eyes filled with sheer terror. Fire! Fire!
"Don't let him get close!" the captain roared frantically into his earpiece.
Shoot! Shoot! Shoot!
Countless tongues of fire instantly spat from their weapons, as a dense hail of bullets rained down on Yichuan like a torrential storm.
But Yutron moved. With his Baji-enhanced footwork, he wove through the rain of bullets like a ghostly bolt of lightning.
His golden pupils activated to their absolute limit, making the trajectory of every single bullet look like a clearly visible line in his eyes.
For the bullets he couldn't dodge, he simply reached out his hand.
Chechuan's fingers were lightning fast.
Actually catching a bullet right out of midair, between his fingers.
Monster. He's a monster.
Now it's my turn.
Jichuan tossed the bullet aside.
His expression turning deadly savage. The next 3 minutes were a one-sided massacre.
Chechuan's figure was like the Grim Reaper's scythe, mowing down everyone in his path. He unleashed the raw, explosive power of Bachikwan to its absolute limit. The center-pointing elbow strike. Yama's three-point strike. The ground-shattering sky cannon strike. Every single move was simple and direct, yet carried devastating, world-ending power. The exoskeleton armor was as flimsy as paper before him. One assassin desperately tried to target him with a rocket launcher.
Before he could even pull the trigger, each one's kick snapped his arm in half.
The rocket launcher clattered to the ground, exploding with a massive boom and blowing the assassin sky high. By the time the last killer was sent flying by each one's kick, the entire street had fallen dead silent once again. Ikron stood right in the center of the bloody carnage.
Ishramai shoot untouched by even a single drop of blood.
Only a faint golden flame still smoldered deep within his cold, piercing eyes.
He looked up toward the roof of the abandoned building. The biggest fish was still waiting up there.
On the rooftop, Quishi's hands were trembling violently.
He had been a mercenary for 20 years.
He had assassinated warlords in the Philippines,
Blown up oil fields in the Middle East.
There wasn't a single ruthless bastard he hadn't crossed paths with.
But someone like Yechuan, who could wipe out an entire, fully armed elite squad barehanded in under 3 minutes? He had never even heard of such a monster.
Retreat! Retreat immediately! The intel is completely wrong. This isn't an S-class mission at all. This is a triple S-class suicide mission.
Quishi screamed into his earpiece, desperately trying to hook onto the Zeppelin to escape. But the exact moment he turned around,
Since you're already here,
why not stay for a cup of tea? Terrified, Quishi whipped out the Desert Eagle strapped to his thigh, spun around, and fired. The gunshot echoed, but Yuchuan was gone. A split second later, a freezing sensation washed over Quishi's wrist. Sudden, excruciating pain hit him as his entire right hand, still clutching the Desert Eagle, sliced clean off and thudded to the ground. The cup was as smooth as glass.
standing right before him.
Ichan was casually twirling a thin, blood-stained, rusty piece of metal. Nothing more than a jagged scrap of a soda can he had just picked up from the ground, leafed even with a blade of grass. Quisho clutched his bleeding, severed wrist, screaming in agony as he collapsed to his knees.
His eyes were filled with absolute horror and despair. Don't kill me.
I'm the head of Black Mamba's Asia region. If you kill me, Black Mamba will hunt you down to the ends of the earth. Chichan looked down at him coldly, like looking at a bug.
Just an ant? Trying to threaten me?
Do you know what I hate the most in this world?
People trying to threaten me, with things I have too much of to even count.
Like money, for instance. Idron pulled out his phone and swiped open an interface. It was the dark web's omniscience access that his system had just unlocked.
The Black Mamba, a secret organization.
Its headquarters is hidden on a remote island in the international waters of the Pacific.
Its assets are worth around $30 billion.
The current leader's codename is Lone King.
His real identity is the illegitimate son of a fallen European noble.
You? How do you know all this?
This is top secret.
System. Purchase the upgraded version of the world's top hacker ability, God's Hand,
Hack into the Black Mamba headquarters account.
and freeze all their funds. Think?
Also, issue a new bounty to all of their assassins.
3 seconds later, Kush's custom communicator suddenly begins to vibrate violently. And he isn't the only one. At this very moment, over 3,000 Black Mamba assassins scattered across the globe simultaneously receive a top-level red alert. Top bounty target, the entire Wu family. Main targets, Wu Zichuan and his father, Wu Diamao. Client code name, God. The reward, $1 billion. Additional clause, whoever takes Wu Damo's head will become the next leader of the Black Mamba. The current leader, Lone King, has already been bought out by a multi-billionaire for $50 billion. The organization has now been renamed the Divine Syndicate. Bought them out? Quiche murmurs to himself, his entire worldview shattering. In his wildest dreams, he never imagined someone could just straight up buy an entire assassin organization. What? You don't believe me? If you don't believe it, you can check your bank account. As a welcome gift, I just set $1 million to every single living assassin just to get them to change their tune.
Quish's phone chimes.
A notification pops up. $1 million received. At this moment, the way Quiche looks at Yechuan completely changes. It is no longer out of fear, but pure fanatical adoration. Bo, boss! He bangs his head against the floor violently, the loud thuds echoing through the room. This subordinate was blind. I am willing to go through hell and high water for you, boss. That old bastard Wu Diamao. I will go and slaughter him right now. Your hand is broken. You're useless now. And I don't keep useless people around. Quiche's face turns deadly pale. But then, each one's tone shifts. I have a pill right here. Take it, and your hand will grow back. And what's more, your strength will increase 3 times over. In the system mall, this pill goes for 50 million. But there is a catch. This pill is poison. You must take the antidote once every 3 months. If you ever betray me. Without a moment's hesitation, Quiche snatched the pill and swallowed it down. Then, a miracle happened. The raw flesh at Quiche's severed wrist began to squirm. Right before their eyes, the bleeding stopped. A scab formed, and the limb actually began to regenerate. A miracle. This is a miracle. Quiche broke down, tears streaming down his face. Chuklan turned around and walked toward the edge of the roof. Clean up the bodies here. I don't want to see a single report about a shootout on the news tomorrow. And notify everyone. I'm going to take my time destroying the Wu family. Don't kill them off too quickly. First, cut off their funding. Then, sever their connections. In the end, I want them on their knees at the entrance of the Shen Group, begging for death. As you command. After tonight, Wu family will be completely erased from the underworld.
Jikran leaped forward.
Plunging straight down from the 30-story mid-air, he activated the anti-gravity glider he had just redeemed. Like a massive black bat, he glided away, vanishing into the night. Half an hour later, inside Shen Yunshu's private villa, the lights were brightly lit. In the living room, Shen Yunshu was curled up on the sofa, clutching a throw pillow. The TV was on, but she wasn't paying any attention to it. Beside her, Tang Tun had already fallen asleep, with tears still glistening on her eyelashes. Yetuan! Please, you have to be safe.
Shen Yunshu pressed her hands together,
Silently praying. Just then, the sound of the fingerprint lock clicking open came from the front door. Welcome home. Shen Yunshu bolted upright. Without even putting on her shoes, she rushed to the door barefoot. The door swung open. Sorry. I'm back late. I was passing by the night market. I saw a crawfish place that looked pretty good. So I grabbed some. It's 13 spice flavor too. At the sight of Yutron, Shen Yunshu could no longer hold back her emotions. She threw herself straight into Yutron's arms, wrapping her arms tightly around his waist. Her tears instantly soaked through his shirt. Where did you go? Do you have any idea how worried I was? I heard the sound of the helicopters. I thought, you silly girl. Didn't I tell you? There was some trash that needed cleaning up. He looked up at the night sky outside the window. The dark clouds had parted, revealing a bright, clear moon. From now on, the night in Jiancheng. I call the shots. No one will ever hurt any of you again.
Qichuan.
Who on earth are you? Qichuan leaned down and kissed away the tears at the corner of her eyes. I'm your billionaire. And I'm also your knight. Meanwhile, at the Wu family mansion on the other side of Jiancheng, Wu Daimao, the chairman of the Wu group was sitting in his study, anxiously waiting for good news. Why hasn't there been any word yet? What is that useless trash Quiche doing?
Liu Mao slammed the cigar into the ashtray,
Crushing it. Suddenly, the study door was burst open. The butler stumbled in, his face pale with absolute terror. Sir! This is bad. Something terrible has happened. What's the panic? Is the sky falling? Booyah Mao roared. The butler, trembling all over, handed him a tablet. The sky. It really is falling. Look at this. The dark web is flooded with bounties on our family.
Our stock. It just plummeted 90% pre-market. And more than 10 of the company's major shareholders
just called at the same time, demanding to pull out their shares.
What?
Wee Domel snatched the tablet and took just one look. Instantly, his world started spinning. He spat out a mouthful of blood. Right there on the homepage of the dark web was a massive, blown-up photo of his face. Beneath it was a line of text dripping in blood. Hunt down the Wu family across the entire network. Bounty, $1 billion. Who did this? Sounding like a dying beast. Just then, the phone in the study rings.
It is an unknown number.
Traphamon Blumal picks it up. A voice comes from the other end, digitally altered yet dripping with pure malice. Good evening, Chairman Wu.
I heard you trying to hire the Black Mamba to kill me.
Too bad. The Black Mamba answers to you now.
Enjoy your final night.
Because when the sun rises tomorrow, it will be the end of the Wu family. The line goes dead. The receiver slips from Wu Diomao's hand. He collapses limply into his chair, his eyes staring blankly.
Outside his window, the brilliant city lights that once belonged to the Wu family
now look like guiding lights leading straight to hell. Mornings in Jiang City are usually busy and orderly.
But today, the entire city's air is thick with a suffocating madness. It all started last night on the dark web, when a mysterious organization called the Divine Faction posted a bounty of $1 billion.
This massive sum, enough to buy half of a small African nation,
had sent the global underworld into an absolute frenzy.
At the Wu Group headquarters, the glass skyscraper that once symbolized the absolute pinnacle of power in Jiang City
is now completely surrounded, packed tight.
But the crowd gathered at the entrance isn't journalists, nor is it unpaid workers demanding their wages.
Instead, it's mobs of fierce-looking thugs
with suspicious bulges around their waists.
Up in the penthouse chairman's office,
Pujamao looks like he has aged 10 years overnight.
He slumps in his $1 million Frongwali wood chair,
his hair a disheveled mass,
and his eyes bloodshot. He tightly clutches a satellite phone in his hand.
Hello? Chairman?
It's me, Old Wu.
I don't ask for much. Just please, send someone to protect me.
What? Bad signal?
Hello? Hello?
Furious, Wu Daimao hurls the satellite phone at the floor-to-ceiling window.
Crash!
A white mark dents the bulletproof glass, reflecting the dense, ant-like crowd swarming below. Just then, the heavy mahogany door of the office is kicked wide open from the outside. But the person walking through the door isn't a hitman. It's his secretary. But right now, this usually submissive secretary is staring at him with cold eyes, holding a cardboard box. Chairman Wu, here is your resignation letter. She slaps the paper right onto Wu Zhoumao's face. I even printed it out for you. Oh, and by the way, everyone in accounting has already quit. How dare you people turn on me? I'm the chairman here. I'm not dead yet.
Cut the axe, Chairman Wu. Don't be so naive.
Wu Group stock is worth less than toilet paper now.
The gangs have frozen every single asset.
We haven't even paid the utilities for this building in 3 months. You're nothing but a massive liability now. Who do you think is going to respect you as chairman? With that, she turns on her heel and walks out without looking back, but not before grabbing the solid gold pen holder off his desk.
You bitch, come back here. Put my gold down.
Wu Gemao screams, trying to chase after her.
Only to be blocked by 2 massive hulking bodyguards at the door.
These were the elite guards he had paid a fortune to hire. One of the bodyguards chomps on his chewing gum. Chairman Wu, save your breath.
The only reason we're still here
is because someone else offered us a much higher price.
They paid us to watch you?
And make sure you don't try to end your own life. Who is it? But the bodyguard doesn't say a word. Instead, he respectfully steps aside, clearing the path. From the far end of the hallway, a slow, deliberate set of footsteps echoes. Leather shoes click sharply against the polished marble floor. Each step feels like a heavy hammer slamming directly against the chests of the Wu father and son. A young man in a bespoke navy suit walks in, arm in arm with a breathtaking, ice-cold beauty. They stroll into the room with effortless grace. Behind them is a formidable entourage of elite professionals in sharp suits. Each one carries a briefcase, looking exactly like a ruthless corporate acquisition team.
Morning, Chairman Wu.
Chatran steps into the office and scans the ridiculously lavish room. Finally, his eyes lock onto Wu Gemao's pale, bloodless face. So, this is the office of Jiang Sheng's richest man? Honestly, your taste is incredibly tacky. Jishuan casually picks up a golden Sageda ornament from the desk. He weighed it in his hand with utter disgust, and then, with a sharp slap, tossed it straight into the trash.
Puyamao glared venomously at the man standing right in front of him.
The sheer malice in his eyes was practically overflowing.
Each one. It was you. You're the one who put out that bounty.
You absolute monster. What on earth do you want?
Even revenge has its limits. What you're doing is illegal.
Yuan pulled over a chair and motioned for Shen Yunshu to sit.
Then, he leaned lazily against the edge of the desk. When you sent killers to assassinate me last night, why didn't you care about the law then?
So, the powerful are allowed to burn down houses,
But the common folk aren't even allowed to light a candle?
Tra snapped his fingers,
A lawyer standing behind him stepped forward,
opened his briefcase, and spread a thick stack of documents in front of Wu Daomao. Chairman Wu,
allow me to introduce myself.
I am Mr. Yutron's chief legal representative.
This is a comprehensive asset transfer agreement for the Wu Group, according to our calculations. The Wu Group currently has a debt of 23 billion. Due to unforeseen circumstances, the valuation of your assets is currently at negative 5 billion.
Normally, this would be a company undergoing bankruptcy liquidation. But my boss, Mr. Yichuan, is a generous man.
He is willing to fund an acquisition.
An acquisition? How much are you offering?
As long as you withdraw that bounty, I'll give you the company.
I'll give you everything.
Yu Zhuan smiled.
He held up a single finger. 10 billion?
Chu Liang shook his head.
1 billion. Wu Dimao gritted his teeth.
Chu Wan shook his head again.
100 million? Wu Jimao's heart sank all the way to the bottom.
Tuan's smile vanished.
He fished a coin out of his pocket.
It was an old, rusty, out of circulation 1-cent coin. Clink.
The coin spun on the desk with a harsh, grating screech before finally dropping right in front of Wu Jiamao. This is to buy everything your family built over 3 generations, including this building, and every single property under your name. My cars, my stocks, even the suit on your back. Out of sheer rage, Wu Jiamao spat out a mouthful of blood. You've gone too far. He slammed the table, leaping to his feet. Even if I burn everything to ashes and give it to beggars, I will still never let you have it.
Charon looked at him with mock pity.
Go ahead and try. But let me remind you,
The over 3,000 bounty hunters downstairs are getting very impatient. If I withdraw the order to capture you alive,
how do you think they will storm in? Diamao froze instantly.
Dad!
Sign it? How good. I want to live. I don't want to die.
Wu Zi completely broke down.
He crawled over, clinging to Wu Jiamao's leg, sobbing hysterically with tears and snot streaming down his face, staring at his son's pathetic, cowardly state. The last spark of hope in Wu Jiamao's eyes died completely.
Wu Jiamao picked up the pen with trembling hands. Yichuan.
You are ruthless. The moment he signed his name, he felt as if his very soul had been sucked out. The empire he had spent his entire life building was sold for a single penny to this delivery boy, a man he had once looked down on like an insignificant ant. So, do you like the gift I got you?
Yuquan picked up the signed contract
And handed it directly to Shen Yushu behind him. Shen Yushu held the heavy document. This massive empire that had once nearly driven the Shen family to ruin. And now, so effortlessly, it had become hers.
Yichuan.
This is way too valuable.
Shen Yunzhu felt as if she were dreaming.
Hey, we're a family now. Why the polite talk? Besides, I can't be bothered to manage these trashy companies. From now on, you are the chairperson of the Wu Group. Oh, wait. I mean the head of the #1 branch of the Shen family empire.
He patted Wu Jiamao on the shoulder.
As if comforting a stray dog.
I right?
Drop the long face. To celebrate our successful acquisition, I've decided to take you and your son to experience a bit of real life.
Why did Yuomao have such a bad feeling about this?
Oh. Yichuan snapped his fingers. System. Activating the Billionaire's ultimate humiliation spending mode. Host's high satisfaction storyline detected. Task is being initiated. Kelk Billionaire Kin, shopping. Task requirement. Buy up everything the Wu father and son ever wanted but couldn't afford, right in front of them, and force them to act as your personal porters. 1 hour later, at Jiangkang's largest luxury car dealership, the world's most elite luxury cars were on display here. This used to be Wu Jishuan's favorite place to show off. Flew, but every time he came, he only dared to look at those entry-level models worth a few million yuan. As for the Bugatti La Voiture Noire in the center of the showroom, worth 120 million yuan, he didn't even dare to touch it. But today, he was here. Except, he was here as a porter, wearing a torn shirt. Wu Ziwan was sweating profusely as he trailed behind Jie Chuan. And Budao, like a spineless old servant, kept his head low, submissively silent. Does this car look familiar? Yichuan pointed at the Bugatti, looking at Wu Ziquan with a mocking half-smile. I heard that last time. You begged your dad for 6 months just for this car. But he still wouldn't buy it for you. Wu Juan swallowed hard. His eyes filled with longing and jealousy. Do you like it?
If you like it, then take a good long look.
Chechuan walked over to the car,
Patted the HUD and scoffed. Because from now on, you'll only be driving it in your dreams. After saying that,
Yifran turned to look at the sales manager. I'll pay the full amount by card. No need for a test drive.
just hand me the keys.
Of course, sir.
The manager's hands were shaking with excitement.
Yichuan took the keys.
And under Buchuan's despairing gaze, casually tossed them to Brother Dao behind him.
This car is yours now. Use it to go grocery shopping. From now on, stop driving that beat-up van.
It's embarrassing.
Everyone in the showroom was instantly frozen in shock. A goodie worth 120 million.
Yawan, gift it to his bodyguard to go grocery shopping.
Brother Dao held the keys, tears streaming down his face. He dropped to his knees right then and there before Yichuan.
Boss, you're my absolute savior. My life is yours from now on.
At that moment, Wu Zixuan felt worse than if he'd just swallowed a pile of garbage.
The ultimate dream car he'd lusted over for years.
Yichuan just casually tossed it to some low-life thug.
But wait, he wasn't even done yet.
Jian, couple walking.
That Rolls Royce? Bought?
That Ferrari? Bought.
Too flashy. Painted black when we get back. Oh, and those Aston Martins? Give one to every single cleaning lady at my company.
So, their daily commute is a bit easier.
In just 30 minutes.
Yichuan swept through the entire dealership like a storm.
Stating a grand total of $800 million.
度掉毛，而无自抓，拽着什么必狠狠。
Their arms overflowing with promotional gifts from the luxury cars.
Car covers. Perfumes. Looking like two completely exhausted, dead dogs.
And every single time Yichuan swiped his card,
Their hearts violently seized. Yuquan, please, stop buying. We were wrong.
Just put us out of our misery.
Gutimao finally snapped, falling to his knees and sobbing uncontrollably. Yichuan stopped, turning back to look at the miserable father and son. Put you out of your misery?
When you kicked me out of the Ya family back then,
And forced me to deliver food in the pouring rain. Did you ever show me any mercy? Yuchan's gaze instantly turned bone-chillingly cold. I told you, I will make you beg for death, but I won't let you die.
Brother Dao, drag these two pieces of trash to the police station. Tell the chief to give them a luxury suite.
And find some passionate roommates to take good care of them. I hear young Master Wu has very delicate skin. He should be extremely popular in there. Got it?
Don't worry, young master. I know exactly how things work in there. Grinning, Brother Dao dragged the screaming father and son out. Like dead dogs.
Jiquan, you can't do this.
I'm your brother.
Brother, I was wrong.
Sixone's desperate, agonizing screams echoed through the showroom,
Before finally fading away into nothing. With the Wu family finally dealt with.
Yuchuan let out a long sigh. What's wrong?
Are you not happy?
Shen Yunshu murmured, walking over to gently wrap her arm around his.
just feeling a bit bored, that's all.
Chichon stared out at the bustling street outside the showroom.
Wu Gu family fell too fast.
There wasn't even a challenge.
Shen Yunshu chuckled softly. If anyone else heard you say that, they'd probably want to kill you.
That was the mighty Wu family. They literally owned Jiang City.
Well, the sky has officially changed. Yitron took her hand and, let's go. I'm taking you somewhere. Where? To see your new office, the penthouse of the Wu Group headquarters.
The view up there is spectacular.
Perfect for some romance.
Just as they were about to leave,
一重是风 suddenly rang.
It was an encrypted call from an unknown location.
Chichol frowned slightly.
And answered it.
from the other end came an old but powerful voice, dripping with commanding authority. Young man,
I must say, you've caused quite a stir in Jiangchong over the past few days.
Chukron's eyes narrowed. Who are you?
Who I am is not important,
The old man said calmly. What's important is that you touched the Wu family, though that worthless trash Wu Diaomao deserved to die.
He was still a dog I raised, and you should at least consider the master before beating his dog.
So I beat the pup.
And now the old hound shows up.
What? Do you want to put a bounty on my head too? Taresho had so absolutely no fear.
Instead, he felt a spark of excitement. Finally, a worthy opponent.
Ha! A bounty? I don't play such childish games, the old man sneered. Young man,
You might have a bit of money,
and some decent combat skills.
but in the face of true power, money is just a number, and strength is nothing but brute force.
I am the head butler of the capital's Liu family. My young master is very interested in the billionaire system in your hands.
Oh, excuse me. He is very interested in your ability to pull massive funds out of thin air.
Xuan's pupils contracted sharply.
He knew his system's secret had been exposed. Let me give you a piece of advice. The old man's voice continued. In 3 days, the Liu family will send someone to Zhengcheng to clean up the Wu family's mess. When that time comes, I hope you'll be smart enough to hand over what you have.
Otherwise, you will learn the true meaning of despair.
The call cut off. He Kuan stood there holding his phone, silent for a long time. The Liu family of the capital. They were a truly top-tier grand family. a mythical colossus rumored to control the economic lifeblood of the entire nation. Compared to the Liu family,
The Wu family really was worse than a dog.
and worse, they had actually detected the existence of a system.
Yichuan, what's wrong?
Who was on the phone?
Shen Yunshu sensed that something was off with Ye Quan.
She asked, her voice laced with worry.
Yichuan snapped out of it.
The tension in his eyes vanished in an instant, replaced by an even more intense, burning desire to fight. It's nothing. Just a self-righteous old man. Chuan slipped his phone back into his pocket. He looked toward the north, in the direction of the capital. Yerishu. It looks like our relaxing days are officially over. The game from here on out might get a little wild. System. Yichuan called out in his mind. Hearing the third reward, Yichuan smirked. A wild, unbridled laugh escaped him. He laughed with absolute, arrogant confidence. Infinite double cashback, huh? The Liu family, is it?
You want to play the economic blockade game with me?
Then I'll use my money to blow a massive hole right through your precious capital.
Chichuan grabbed Shen Yunshu's hand.
And strode toward his newly bought Bugatti. Let's go blow some cash. Tonight, I'm going to double the entire GDP of Jiangsheng. The Caesar's Palace cruise ship. This was the venue for tonight's charity gala of the century, although it was labeled as a charity event. It was actually a massive show of force by Western capital and domestic puppet elites. The host of the event was none other than the Rothschild family, and listed prominently as the co-host was the Liu family of the capital. The scale of this event far exceeded anything seen before. The attendees were no longer just Zhengcheng's local wealthy bosses, but Wall Street titans, European aristocrats, and the country's top-tier elite families. When Yutran's sleek black Hongxi 19 came to a halt at the end of the red carpet, countless camera flashes erupted instantly. Shiguan stepped out of the car, with a stunningly dressed Shen Yunshu on his arm. Tonight, Shen Yunshu wore a starry, shimmering gown designed by Yichuan himself, woven from a futuristic fabric he'd redeemed from the system. Her hemline seemed to carry a flowing galaxy with every step she took.
In an instant, she completely outshone every Hollywood star and socialite in the room.
So, that's the famous Yaquan. I heard he built a 6th-generation engine.
No way. Is that for real? He pissed off both the Rothschilds and the Liu family.
Tonight is definitely a setup for him.
Whispers rippled through the crowd.
Yichuan completely ignored them. He guided Shen Yunshu straight into the banquet hall. Inside, the hall was grand and glittering, but right in the center of the room stood a massive display platform. It was draped in a crimson cloth, surrounded by heavily armed foreign bodyguards. That is tonight's grand finale. A cold, sinister voice sneered from the side.
A middle-aged man dressed in a traditional Tang suit approached, holding a pair of iron boating balls in his hand.
Behind him was Lu Jiahao, looking absolutely venomous, alongside Henry, who had just stormed off in a rage because of Yichuan. This middle-aged man was none other than the second-in-command of the Liu family.
Lu Jiahao was uncle.
Lu Chakuan, known to all as the Smiling Tiger. Mr. Yu, I have heard so much about you.
Lu Changwen gave a fake, hollow smile and cupped his hands. I am Lu Chengyu.
I hear my useless nephew received quite a lot of special attention from you back in Zhengcheng.
Oh, it was nothing.
Yutran replied indifferently. I just helped him fix his car and taught him some basic manners on the side. Furious, Lu Jiahao lunged forward, only to be held back by Lu Chengyuan. Young man, having a sharp tongue is all well and good, but there are some things you can't protect with mere words.
Lu Chang'an pointed to the display platform. Tonight's auction was personally arranged for you by Mr. Henry.
I only hope your wallet is as tough as your mouth. With that, the three of them burst into a sinister, mocking laugh and turned to walk toward the VIP section.
What are they planning?
Chen Yushu had a terrible feeling about this.
No matter what they have planned.
Zhuguan's eyes turned icy. They won't be taking a single penny home tonight. The banquet began.
After a series of painfully long speeches, the main event, the auction, finally commenced.
The first few items up for bid were various jewels, paintings, and calligraphy,
though highly valuable.
But Yu Chan didn't make a single move.
He was waiting for the so-called grand finale.
Finally, Henry walked up onto the auction stage. Henry's face was twisted with the smug satisfaction of sweet revenge, his eyes locking dead onto Yichuan in the crowd. Tonight's final item is a national treasure of the Sial nation, lost overseas for over 100 years. With a violent yank, he whipped off the red cloth, sending a collective gasp echoing through the entire hall. Sitting inside the display case was a bronze dragon head. Though covered in dirt, it still looked absolutely majestic and awe-inspiring. It was the dragon head, the most mysterious and long-lost piece of the 12 zodiac animal heads from the old summer palace. This very dragon head is a trophy of war that my family seized during that conflict 8 years ago. Henry deliberately spat out the words, "throat of war," with venomous emphasis. To every single Shah citizen in the room, this was a blatant, naked insult. The starting bid is $1 billion, and each raise must be no less than 100 million. Henry glared provocatively at Yaquan. Mr. Lin, I heard you're a patriotic businessman. Well, now is your chance to prove your patriotism. If you don't buy this dragon head today, it will be shipped to our museum tomorrow and permanently displayed under the title, "The Sword That Conquered the East." The shy businessmen in the crowd erupted in pure fury. Shameless. This is highway robbery. He's too damn arrogant. He's spitting right in our faces. $1 billion? That's just insanely expensive. Instantly, every single eye in the room locked onto Yechuan. It was a perfect trap. If he bought it, he'd be playing right into their hands, bleeding cash like a sucker to enrich Western capitalists. But if he didn't, he'd be standing by while his nation's treasure and his reputation would be completely ruined. Lu Qin sneered from the sidelines. Hey, Yuchan, why aren't you bidding? Where's your so-called unlimited funding now? Where's all that patriotism of yours? Don't tell me you're just a gutless coward.
Chetan slowly rose to his feet.
He calmly buttoned his suit jacket and locked a cold, calm gaze onto Henry up on the stage. $1 billion?
Yitran slowly raised his bidding paddle.
I bid $10 billion. The entire room fell into a dead, suffocating silence. $10 billion? Even Henry was utterly dumbfounded. He didn't plan to squeeze a few billion out of Yechuan, but he never expected this guy to multiply the bid by 10 times.
Kijun, are you out of your mind? Shen Yushu grabs his sleeve, panicked. That's a trap. Those thieves are setting you up.
If you give them this money, they'll make a complete comeback. Don't worry. Yuchuan gently pats her hand. Whether they actually get the money isn't up to them. Up on the stage, Henry finally snaps back to reality. He is absolutely ecstatic. With this $10 billion, not only can he save his family from ruin, but they'll also make a fortune. 10 billion once, 10 billion twice. Sold! Henry slams down the gavel, impatient. Mr. Lin, please initiate the transfer immediately. We only accept instant transfers through the SWIFT system. Of course, he has already rigged the whole thing. The second Yuchuan's money hits the SWIFT system, Henry will use his override authority to siphon off the funds, then freeze the transaction under the guise of anti-money laundering checks. In the end, he'll keep the national treasure and steal the money. It is the ultimate heist, executed in broad daylight. Jiawan pulls out a black card and hands it to the approaching staff member. The transfer interface pops up on the massive screen. Just as everyone holds their breath, waiting for the astronomical sum to clear, the screen suddenly flickers. It flashes a blood-red warning. Transaction failed. Error code 404. Your bank has been acquired. What? Henry is utterly dumbfounded. What do you mean bank acquired? This is Atlantic United Bank. My family owns this bank. Standing below the stage, Yit-chan slips his hands into his pockets, flashing a brilliant smile. Oh, my bad. Mr. Henry, exactly 1 minute before the auction started, this $10 billion was used on the U.S. secondary market to complete a hostile takeover of Atlantic United Bank. Which means, Qixuan points at the card terminal. Right now, I am just transferring my own money from one of my accounts to another, inside my own bank. But as for you, the former shareholder, you're under investigation for massive financial fraud and embezzling depositor funds. Yuchuan snaps his fingers. The doors of the banquet hall are slammed open, and a squad of Interpol officers floods the room. The lead officer holds up a red notice. Henry Rothschild! You are under arrest for market manipulation, money laundering, and commercial fraud. What? No! This can't be happening! Harry stares in horror as the officers close in on him, completely broken. I am a Rothschild. I have immunity. Mr. Lu, save me! He looked desperately at Mr. Lu, at Lu Chengwen, but Lu Chengwen's face was already deathly pale. He sat frozen in his chair, not daring to move an inch, because he could feel several red laser dots, locked dead, on the center of his forehead. Those were the snipers of the Shadow Legion. Yuchuan waved his hand. Take him away. Henry was dragged away. Like a dead dog, the bronze dragon head was left on the stage. Yitran stepped onto the stage. With just one hand, he effortlessly picked up the heavy bronze dragon head, his trophy. Yichuan looked down at the dumbfounded foreign capitalists in the crowd. His voice boomed like thunder. From this day on, the tables have turned. Everything that belongs to us, I will take back, piece by piece, whether I have to buy it or take it by force. A deafening roar of applause and cheers erupted from the crowd like a tsunami. Countless domestic businessmen were moved to tears. In this moment, a century of pent-up humiliation was finally unleashed. Shen Yunshu stared at the radiant, magnificent man on the stage. Her eyes were filled with absolute adoration. This was her man. A man who could take on the entire world single-handedly and win. But just as the entire crowd was cheering, a system notification, louder than ever before, suddenly rang in Yachuan's mind. Ding! Detected host has achieved smasher of old capital. The system is undergoing its ultimate upgrade.
Upgrade complete.
God-level Tycoon System version 3.0. Dimensional Sovereign has been activated. Unlocking new feature, Dimensional Mall. Technology is no longer limited to Earth.
Access granted to Level 1 Cosmic Civilization Technology. Antimatter Energy.
Gene lock unlocked. Space folding technology enabled. Sovereign domain activated. Within a 100-meter radius of the host, you hold absolute authority to rewrite the laws of physics,
Such as doubling gravity or freezing time for 1 second.
Final quest activated.
Global Oligarch Purge. Yutri stared at these new features.
The golden glow in his eyes flared up instantly.
The air around him even began to ripple with visible waves from the sheer overflow of energy. Dimensional Sovereign. Just then,
Looking at Yuchuan, there was no fear on his face. Instead, a sinister smile crept onto his lips.
Yutran. Magnificent. Truly magnificent.
Luke Chengwan slowly clapped his hands as he walked toward Yuchuan. It seems the rumors are true.
You really do have that thing on you. The Liu family actually planned to spare your life at first and use you as a cash cow. But looking at you now, you've grown too powerful to control.
Lu Chogyuan pulls a black remote from his coat. Do you have any idea what this is?
We've rigged the Caesar's Palace cruise ship with 3 tons of liquid explosives. If you make me press this,
No matter how much money you have or what kind of high-tech secrets you've got, it will all turn to ash in an instant. Yutuan, hand over your system, or let every elite on this ship and the woman you love go down with you. The cheers of the entire crowd instantly die down.
Shen Yunchu turns pale with horror.
You lunatic. Lu Chongwan, are you out of your mind?
There are hundreds of innocent people on this ship. Innocent? Lu Changyuan laughs maniacally. To achieve greatness, sacrifices must be made.
As long as I can get the god-level Tycoon System.
Forget about a few hundred lives. It would be worth it, even if half the people in Jiang City died.
Yutran, get on your knees and extract the system.
Otherwise, I'm pressing it.
Lu Chengwen's finger hovers over the red button.
Ijavan looks at him as if he's watching a pathetic clown.
Time freezes. Tian calmly whispers 4 words. Dominion Realm, activate. Time stops for 1 second. The entire world suddenly turns to a dull gray. Fly droplets of spit, terrified expressions. The rising and falling of the waves.
Even the motion of Lu Changwan's finger pressing down.
All freeze frame in this exact millisecond.
Yutran moves.
As if taking a leisurely stroll in his backyard.
He slowly walks up to Lu Chengyuan. Reaching out, he takes the remote right out of his hand.
Then, he backhands Lu Changwan right across the face.
Time resumes.
Lu Changwan feels his vision blur for a split second.
The remote in his hand is gone.
Instantly, an agonizing pain erupts across half of his face.
He spins in place like a top, rotating 3 full times. Several teeth fly out, mixed with a spray of blood, clutching his face.
Lu Changwan looks in sheer terror at Yuchuan, who is standing a few meters away, casually playing with the remote.
Are you a man? Or a ghost?
How did you do that?
What just happened?
Teleportation? Yuchuan crushes the remote, letting the fragments crumble to the ground. I told you, in this domain, I am God.
Jifuan walked up to Lu Changyuan. He looked down coldly at this man, the once arrogant second-in-command of the Liu family.
It's time for the Liu family's curtain call. Tonight, this ship won't sink.
But the Liu family's rotting ship? It's sinking tonight, for sure.
Tonight's banquet will go on.
But the next event on the schedule is Judgment.
Colluding with foreign forces to assassinate a national hero.
And planting bombs in public spaces. The evidence is undeniable.
Long He. Throw him overboard to feed the fish.
Yuchuan, how dare you?
I'm a member of the Liu family.
My older brother is...
A loud splash silenced all of Lu Changyuan's frantic screaming.
The river was freezing cold and bottomless, just like Yuchuan's cold, piercing gaze right now. He looked toward the north. The Liu family's last trump card was gone. Now, it's time to head to the capital and collect the biggest debt of all.
Shen Yunchu walked up to him and took his hand in a tight grip.
Though her palm was still trembling with fear, her eyes were filled with absolute determination.
I'm coming with you.
Yatran squeezed her hand back.
Looking down at the dragon seal in his hand, the ultimate symbol of supreme power, he said, "All right, we aren't just going back for justice. We are going to reclaim an entire era, one that belongs to us." Late autumn in the capital was bleak and biting cold. The old Liu family estate sat at the foot of the western hills. This colossal fortress had witnessed the rise and fall of 3 dynasties. It had stood tall through countless bloody power struggles. But today, it was choked by an unprecedented wave of fear. Dark clouds rolled across the sky. Hanging so low, they felt almost within reach. Inside the main hall of the Liu estate, the tension was suffocating.
The current head of the Liu family,
Dudish Liu Hanbao,
A man who could make the entire capital tremble 3 times over, with a single stomp of his foot, sat stiffly in his grandmaster's chair. But the 2 prized walnuts he'd rolled in his palms for half his life had been crushed to absolute dust.
Kneeling, right in front of him,
Was Lu Jiahao, who had barely escaped with his life. On either side of the hall,
like 7 or 8 elders with deeply hidden, terrifying energy.
their temples bulged prominently, a clear sign of their deadly martial arts mastery. These men were the true hidden backbone of the Lu family. The Lu family's 8 grandmasters,
Every single one of them is a legendary figure in the ancient martial arts world. 1.
Grandpa, second uncle. He was thrown into the river to feed the fish. Jiaho's entire body was still trembling uncontrollably.
Gu Guang struck back with his cane. You useless piece of trash. You're boosting the enemy's morale and destroying our own. You gossed it up. Although he was over 80 years old, the murderous aura he had forged from a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood still struck terror into everyone's hearts.
Sorcery. There is no such thing as sorcery in this world.
It's nothing but some unknown high-tech gadgetry. He scanned the room, his gaze as sharp as an eagle's.
my Lu family has stood tall in the capital for 100 years.
What kind of storms haven't we weathered? Even when the 8-Nation Alliance invaded back then, they couldn't wipe out the Lu family. So who does this upstart think he is? Who is he to try and destroy my family?
Lu Guan slammed his cane down hard.
The floor tiles shattered instantly under the impact.
Activate the Skynet defense system.
That's the laser defense array we bought from the Western Blackwater Corporation for $20 billion.
It can intercept even cruise missiles.
Issue an immediate lockdown order. Guard the inner courtyard. If that bastard named Yi dares to take even one step inside, kill him on sight.
A flash of crazed determination flared in Lu Guan's eyes.
Release that thing from the forbidden area in the back mountain, since he wants to play with supernatural tricks. Then this old man will show him what a real monster looks like. Hearing about that thing? The faces of the 8 grandmasters present paled in unison. Deep weariness and dread filled their eyes,
And even sheer, unadulterated fear.
right at that moment. A low, umbling thunder echoed from high up in the heavens.
But this wasn't the sound of natural thunder.
It sounded more like a colossal engine compressing the atmosphere at low altitude, triggering a sonic boom. Everyone in the Lu family ancestral home instinctively rushed out of the hall. They all looked up at the sky. In the next second, their eyes widened in absolute shock. The heavy dark clouds overhead seemed to be torn wide open by a massive, invisible hand.
A pitch black, sword-shaped, colossal aircraft
Silently hovered directly above the Lu family courtyard. It completely blocked out the sun, casting a massive, suffocating shadow over everyone's hearts. No propellers, yet fruitostores. It just hovers there, dead silent, defying every single law of physics. That's the Kinfa-class civilian budget shuttle, redeemed from the system mall. Even though it's the budget version, it's more than enough to terrify these primitive earthlings. What is that?
Lu Jiahao collapses to the ground.
Completely wetting his pants in sheer terror. That's Yutuan's ship.
He's an alien.
He really is an alien. Luke Guan's hands are shaking violently, too. But he forces himself to hold it together, screaming into his radio with everything he's got.
Air defense team. Fire! Shoot that thing down.
Suddenly, the decorative rock formations around the Lu family estate split wide open, revealing 4 futuristic laser turrets and 6 sets of surface-to-air missile launchers.
The sky ignites with blinding fire.
6 heat-seeking missiles strake upward, trailing thick plumes of smoke, screaming toward the massive black warship hovering above.
Right behind them, 4 high-energy laser beams cut through the air like the Grim Reaper's blades, piercing straight toward the ship's belly.
This is the Lu family's ultimate trump card. A devastating barrage of firepower, enough to wipe out an entire modern armored division.
Yet, facing this apocalyptic onslaught,
The massive black ship doesn't even bother activating its shields. Instead, a faint blue light pulses at the bow. Initiated. Then, an impossibly eerie sight unfolds. Those 6 missiles, screaming forward at 3 times the speed of sound. Suddenly, just 100 meters away from the ship,
thing die, like spent fireworks.
their speed drops instantly to absolute 0. They plunge straight down, dropping like stones in a dead freefall. The missiles slam right back into the Lu family courtyard, detonating among the decorative rocks and the fish ponds. The violent explosions instantly swallow the Lu family's own defense systems. As for those 4 high-energy lasers, when they hit the ship's hull, it's like shining a flashlight onto a mirror. They are reflected straight back. In an instant, the 4 laser turrets are melted into piles of bubbling, molten iron by their own beams. With a single, effortless defense, the Lu family's proud $10 billion defense line completely annihilates itself. As the smoke and dust finally clear, the Lu family estate is in absolute ruins. Rubble and debris lie everywhere, filled with the agonizing groans of wounded bodyguards. Du Guan stands at the entrance of Zhoni Hall. His face is covered in soot and grime. His eyes are completely vacant. The Kana defense system, his absolute pride and joy, is completely gone.
Right then,
The hatch at the bottom of the spaceship in the sky slowly begins to open. Two figures leap straight down from a height of 1,000 meters. No parachutes, no gliders. Just a pure free fall.
They're crazy! That's suicide!
An elder of the Liu family shrieks in terror, but when they are just 10 meters from the ground, their falling bodies suddenly defy gravity, breaking their momentum. They land as light as feathers, without kicking up a single speck of dust.
Yichan and Shen Yongzu.
Yichan is wearing a long black trench coat. Underneath is the same casual suit he wore back in Jiang City. Beside him, Shen Yunshu has changed into a sleek, white tactical suit. In her hand, she carries the case holding the dragon head. The two of them stand side by side,
Standing right in the middle of the ruined Liu family estate.
looking like a pair of gods descending upon the mortal world. Old man Liu.
Pleasure to finally meet you.
Yitran looks up at Lu Gran on the steps, who seems to have aged 10 years in an instant. A faint smile plays on his lips. How do you like my welcoming gift? Quite a bang, isn't it?
Lu Gran points a trembling finger at Yatran.
Blood wells up in his throat from sheer rage. Yitran, this is the capital.
This is the very heart of the empire.
How dare you openly use heavy weaponry to attack a private residence?
This is treason. This is an act of war.
Yichan shrugs nonchalantly.
Old man, you must be seeing things. It was clearly your Liu family harboring illegal weapons.
And accidental misfire caused an explosion.
As for me, I'm just a concerned citizen who rushed over here to help put out the fire. Saying this, Yitran snaps his fingers.
Long Yi, send the video footage to the security bureau. Yes, sir. Long Yi's voice echoes from thin air.
Everything that just happened had already been captured in high definition by the spaceship's holographic cameras. It is true. The Liu family did fire first.
Then, their own missile fell right back down and blew them up instead.
Each one didn't have to lift a single finger.
You shameless bastard!
Liu Grom roared, shooken with pure rage.
Compared to the vile things your Liu family has done, I still have a long way to go.
Xuan's expression instantly turned icy cold.
Took a step forward. Kill him! Everyone kill him!
Lu Guan shrieked at the top of his lungs. The 8 grandmasters who had been waiting on the sidelines exchanged tense glances. Yichan's grand entrance was terrifying, sure, but their pride as elite warriors made them refuse to believe that any mortal was truly invincible.
You arrogant brat. Know your place.
Taste my iron sand palm. A massive, burly old man roared in fury, stomping hard on the stone tiles. He launched himself forward like a human cannonball, charging straight at Yechuan. His pitch-black, iron-like palm sliced through the air with a deadly gust, aiming straight for the crown of Yechuan's skull. A strike like this could easily shatter solid stone. Yet, Yichuan didn't even spare him a glance. System ability. Gravity multiplier. 100-fold.
Needle down, Yichuan whispered.
In an instant, the Grandmaster, who was still suspended in midair,
Felt his body being crushed by an invisible, massive mountain. There wasn't even a split second to resist. He was violently slammed face first into the ground in a horrifying, brutal crash. He didn't just kneel, he was completely pulverized into the floor.
his kneecap shattered instantly into a million pieces.
A deep crater exploded outward beneath him. He lay there flattened like a rag doll at the bottom of the pit, completely knocked unconscious.
The entire room fell dead silent.
The remaining 7 grandmasters froze in their tracks. Their faces were pale, paralyzed with sheer terror as they stared at the scene.
His word is absolute law.
Just what level of power is this?
He's a living deity. Are we seriously going to fight him?
Tukuan slowly looked around the room.
I don't mind turning this entire place into a morgue.
The 7 grandmasters looked at one another in sheer panic, and then, with silent agreement, they all started backing away. Within seconds, they turned on their heels and bolted.
Are you kidding? This guy isn't even human. No one stands a chance against him.
Sure, the money was great, but keeping their lives was far more important.
A bunch of useless trash.
Gugua watched his highly paid guardians scattering in panic.
So furious, he nearly had a stroke. By then, Yuchuan had already reached the steps of the Hall of Loyalty.
He didn't go free trade-in.
Instead, he gestured to Uncle Shen Yun behind him. Uncle Yun, give it to him. Think?
Uncle Shen stepped forward,
Placed the case on the ground and opened it.
Inside lay the majestic bronze dragon head, resting in silence, its eyes seemingly passing judgment on this corrupt family.
如果别传世过位，是爱是口。
This was supposed to be the tool your family used, colluding with outsiders, to humiliate our people.
And now, I've brought it back. I didn't put it here to give it to you, but to teach you a lesson.
Yuchang took a step up the stairs.
Staring down at Lu Guan. The dragon is meant to be revered,
Not bought and sold. Your family doesn't deserve to live in this estate.
Lu Guo stared at the dragon head,
And then at Yechuan, who was closing in on him step by step.
the sheer terror in his eyes finally warped into a desperate, rabid madness.
Fine. Lu Guo let out a screeching, maniacal laugh.
Jiquan,
Do you really think you've won? You think having advanced tech makes you the master of everything?
You have absolutely no idea what the truth of this world is.
Lu Guan suddenly snatched a black bone whistle carved with eerie runes from his coat
And blew into it with all his might.
A piercing screech instantly echoed through the entire back mountain.
Then, the earth began to tremble as a nauseating metallic stench surged from the forbidden zone of the mountain.
An inhuman roar shattered the air, echoing through the clouds. The concrete wall surrounding the back mountain collapsed with a deafening crash. A massive figure, easily 3 meters tall, its entire body covered in slick black scales. A humanoid monster, with blood-red eyes, crawling on all fours, charged out like a runaway tank. Wherever it trampled, the grass and trees withered instantly, and even the stone tiles were corroded by its path.
At this, Uncle Shen's face turned pale.
A bioweapon?
Ha ha ha. Take a good look, Yishuan. Lu Guan cackled like a maniac. This is my ultimate weapon from the Syndicate, the Tyrant.
It's a perfect fusion of ancient prehistoric genes and a mutated strain of the T-virus.
It feels absolutely no pain and possesses infinite strength.
And its body is dripping with lethal poison.
Whirring, the tyrant locks its sights dead on Yichuan. It lunges, those monstrous claws, strong enough to rip a tank apart, slashing straight for Yichuan's face. Facing this bioengineered nightmare, Yichuan's expression finally flickers with pure, unadulterated disgust.
This is your trump card? Yuchuan shakes his head. Way too ugly.
Just as the monster's claw is inches from the tip of his nose,
Yichuan's right hand suddenly snaps up. There is no earth-shattering flash of light. Out of thin air, a seemingly ordinary energy blade appears in his hand. No, it is not a lightsaber. That is a high-frequency particle blade, with a faint hiss, like slicing through a cutting board.
As Yichuan's arm sweeps through a graceful, elegant arc,
Time itself seems to freeze.
the tyrant's massive body sails over Yichuan's head.
Crashing heavily onto the ground behind him. There is no explosion. No flesh and blood flying everywhere. Just a single, hair-thin red line appearing around the monster's waist. A second later, the upper half of that ultimate weapon, supposedly invulnerable and infinitely strong, slowly slides off. The cut is as smooth as a mirror. You can even see the perfect cross-section of its organs.
instantly cauterized and sealed by the extreme heat.
Not a single drop of blood escapes. An instant kill. A true, absolute one-shot.
Lu Guan's maniacal laughter cuts off instantly. His jaw drops so wide you could fit a fist inside. He stares at the two twitching halves of the corpse on the ground, feeling his entire world crumble before his eyes. That was a monster the Freemasons spent $1 billion to create.
A beast that could shrug off rocket fire was sliced like warm butter.
Yishuan activates the particle blade
And brushes off his hands, as if he had just done something completely trivial. He walks over to Lu Guan, who is now completely paralyzed with fear, and kicks away the dragon head cane that symbolizes his authority as head of the family. Got anything else? Yichuan leans in close, staring into Lu Guan's cloudy, terror-stricken eyes. Because if you don't, it is time we settle our debts. Years ago, your family conspired with the Wus to set a trap, to ruin my father, drive him to his death, and steal everything the Yi family owned.
How exactly do you plan to pay for that?
Oh, and just now, you had your men try to blow me to pieces with missiles. You wanted to silence me.
How are we going to settle this score?
Lu Guan's lips trembled violently as he stammered.
I'll pay you back.
Take all the Lu family's money. Hundreds of billions. I'll give it all to you.
Please, just spare my miserable life.
Yichuan smiled coldly. Elder Lu, you seem to have forgotten. Money is the last thing I'm short of right now.
Yuchuan's tall.
Looking up at the sky.
Just then, the massive airship hovering overhead, the Sky Strike, projected a giant holographic screen down from the clouds. On the screen was an incredibly detailed list of crimes. Proof of the Lu family selling state secrets. 10. Their money laundering ledgers. 11. And audio recordings of them ordering hits on their competitors. There was even surveillance footage of Louvre ordering the use of banned weapons just moments ago. At that very moment, across every street and alleyway in the capital, every single giant outdoor screen and every phone and computer screen was hijacked, broadcasting this damning evidence live. The entire city erupted in uproar. The entire country was shook. No.
Lu Guan stared at the screen,
Sinking into utter despair. This would completely ruin the Lu family's reputation, leaving them despised for generations to come. This was a fate far worse than death. It was absolute psychological destruction. 24.
Yichuan spoke coldly.
Lu Guan, I want you to watch with your own eyes as the 100-year legacy you were so proud of crumbles into dust under the weight of public fury.
Right then, the piercing wails of sirens echoed from the distance.
But this time, it wasn't the corrupt officials the Lu family usually relied on. 28. These orders came directly from the very top. These, a heavily armed special forces unit and officers from the military court marched in.
Lu Guan, you are under arrest for treason
And crimes against humanity. We are placing you under arrest in accordance with the law. As the cold steel of the handcuffs locked around Lu Guan's wrists, the ruthless tyrant who had ruled the city for half a century finally bowed his proud head. The moment he was shoved into the back of the police car, he stole one last look. Ji Quan was sitting relaxed in the grand armchair that symbolized absolute power, holding Shen Yunshu gently in his arms. He toyed with the dragon head artifact in his hand, raising his glass toward Lu Guan in a silent toast. It was the ultimate gesture of a victor and the coronation of a new king. The Lu family had fallen. They were completely destroyed, rooted out from the very bottom, with all key members of the Lu family captured and their corrupt network of protectors thoroughly purged. Overnight, the entire power structure of the capital was completely reshuffled, and Chuan became the one and only taboo, a name no one dared to speak. Late at night, the old Lu family estate served as Ye Chuan's temporary hideout.
Chuan stood at the edge of the cliff behind the mountain.
Looking down at the brightly lit capital below, Shen Yunshu gently draped a heavy coat over his shoulders. What's on your mind? Your ultimate revenge is finally complete. Aren't you happy?
Ye Chuan slowly shook his head.
He took her hand. The Lu family might have fallen, but this is far from over. That monstrous tyrant we just faced, it was the handiwork of the Western Freemasonry. With that, Ye Chuan pulled out a black bone whistle he had recovered from Lu Guan's body. With a grave expression, he added, "The material of this bone whistle doesn't belong to Earth. It was carved from the bones of some highly evolved organism. Inside, there's an energy fluctuation that even my system can't fully analyze. The system just warned me that Earth's coordinates may have been exposed."
Shen Yunshu gasped in shock.
Exposed? To whom? Ji Quan looked up at the vast, starry sky. To the true predators. Right then, the system inside Ye Chuan's mind suddenly went off, blaring a deafening alarm.
Warning! The dimensional barrier has cracked.
Abyssal presence detected. Invasion coordinates, center of the Pacific Ocean.
Objective: seize the dimensional sovereign core and the host. In Yu Kran's eyes, golden streams of data flickered frantically. He took a deep breath, and crushed the bone whistle in his hand. Looks like we don't have time to rest. Yushu, notify Long Yi. Assemble the entire Shadow Legion.
And activate all weapon systems of the Heaven Destroyer.
We're heading to the Pacific.
Thank guests have traveled a very long way,
and I need to give them a proper welcome. Point Nemo, in the center of the Pacific Ocean. This is the oceanic pole of inaccessibility, the furthest point on Earth from any land, known to humanity as the spacecraft cemetery. Yet today, this region known as the Sea of Death was boiling like a cauldron in hell, 10,000 meters in the air. The pitch-black Heaven Destroyer interstellar shuttle hover amidst the clouds.
Its optical cloaking mode fully active.
Inside the cockpit, Ji Chuan stood before the holographic projection console, staring down at the ocean surface below. By his side,
Shen Yunshu was wearing a form-fitting nano-combat suit.
Even though she had already witnessed Ye Chuan's endless miracles, looking at the data on the holographic screen right now still made her skin crawl.
What is this? What is this?
There's another city? Shen Yunshu pointed at the dense cluster of heat signatures on the screen. The display showed that 3,000 meters beneath Point Nemo in the deep sea, a colossal structure stood looming. A massive, pyramid-shaped complex glowing with a ghostly green light.
Its sheer scale easily surpassed that of Zhongcheng. Countless submarines and underwater mechs buzzed around it like busy ants.
That is the Atlantis Fortress, the true headquarters of the Freemasons, the West's most secretive organization.
They certainly hit it deep.
Yu Quan stared at the massive pyramid.
Golden light swirled in his eyes as the system's analysis popped up.
They're summoning something.
Summoning what?
The tyrant was just a guard dog.
This time, they're summoning the dog's master.
Right at that moment, Dragonwing's voice crackled directly through the neural link. "Boss, the enemy has spotted us. Their ocean defense system is active." Before the words even finished, the tranquil ocean surface suddenly began to boil violently. The water exploded. 12 massive metal pillars, each over 10 meters in diameter, rose from the depths, towering straight into the sky. Instantly, blinding beams of high-energy ions shot out, weaving into an inescapable web of death, locking onto the Tinfa ship hidden in the clouds. The ship's AI shrieked, alarms blaring. So, they finally decided to show their faces? A wild, arrogant smirk played on Ye Chuan's lips. Since they want to play Star Wars, I'll show them what a real dimensional strike looks like. System. Thinking change from planetary-class orbital cannon. Rod of God. One-time trial. Deducting 5 billion in funds. Orbital weapon in position. Ye Chuan slowly raised his hand and gently pressed down toward the ocean below. God said, "Let there be light." 30,000 kilometers away, in outer space, a massive kinetic weapon platform disguised as a weather satellite suddenly adjusted its position.
A 6-meter long,
high-density Kungsan rolled weighing several tons.
Accelerated by an electromagnetic railgun, plummets toward Earth at a terrifying speed of 20 times the speed of sound. The atmosphere is instantly torn apart. The extreme heat generated by friction turns the rod into a falling sun. A few seconds later, those 12 metal pillars on the Pacific surface, still spewing death rays, along with all the seawater within a 10-kilometer radius, are completely vaporized in an instant by a pillar of destruction screaming down from the heavens. A delayed, earth-shattering boom shatters the ears and eyes of startled onlookers thousands of miles away. The colossal shockwave triggers a 100-meter-tall tsunami, surging outward with relentless fury. Deep beneath the ocean, the energy shield of the hidden Atlantean fortress flickers violently under the impact, like a candle in a tempest, on the verge of being snuffed out. Inside the core council chamber of the undersea fortress, the grand hall is immensely imposing, its walls carved with indescribable totems of ancient, cosmic gods. 12 figures clad in crimson robes and wearing golden masks sit around a circular table. They are the 12 of Truth, the supreme ruling body of the Freemasons. At this moment, these masterminds who normally manipulated global finance, wars, and plagues, they're at the crumbling ceiling above, sieged by an unprecedented panic. The Rod of God. That is the Rod of God! One of the elders shrieks in terror. A weapon that only exists in theory. How could that Yi Chuan possibly possess it? Is he an observer from a higher dimensional civilization? We must speed up the ritual. The great elder, sitting at the head of the table, rasps. Beneath his mask, half of a rotting face is exposed, squirming with black tentacles. Only by summoning the abyss and allowing the Ancient One to descend can we hope to survive. Even if we must sacrifice the entire Earth, we must secure our immortality. Begin now. The 12 elders simultaneously slit their wrists, letting their blood drip into the black vortex at the center of the table. As the fresh blood poured in, the vortex began to spin violently. A sickening, evil presence erupted instantly, tearing straight through the core shell of the undersea fortress and rocketing toward the surface. High above the sea, Yi Chuan frowned. What a disgusting stench. He could feel a terrifyingly evil energy awakening deep on the ocean floor. It was an energy that did not belong to Earth, carrying an insatiable hunger to devour everything.
Yunshu, see on the street.
And activate all the shields,
Yu Chuan said, turning to Shen Yunshu.
Things are about to get a little messy down there.
You're going down?
Shen Yushu grabbed his hand.
It's too dangerous. That is 3,000 meters below the surface.
Yu Chuan gently kissed her forehead.
Don't worry, I have my deep sea armor. With that, Yi Chuan walked over to the cabin door and leaped out. System activate. Poseidon armor equipped. In midair, countless blue streams of nanomatter surged, covering Yi Chuan's entire body, instantly forming a sleek, deep blue suit of armor. Clutched in his hand was a trident, while the thrusters on his back flared with deep blue ion trails. Like a torpedo, Yi Chuan plunged headfirst into the boiling ocean waters. The instant he hit the water, the surrounding seas seemed to recognize their king, parting automatically to both sides. Yi Chuan accelerated through the depths, his speed surpassing even that of a supercavitating projectile. Ahead, the massive pyramid fortress was already clearly visible, and surrounding the fortress, tens of thousands of biomonsters, guild behemoths, mechanized serrated beasts, and even humanoid octopus monsters swarmed toward him like a hive of bees. Gripping the trident in his hand, he swung it with a violent sweep. Dominion Realm. Absolute zero.
Send around Yi Chuan.
The ocean water within a radius of 1,000 meters instantly froze. Before the swarming monsters could even open their mouths, they were frozen solid into lifelike ice sculptures. Yi Chuan didn't even slow down, smashing straight through countless ice sculptures in his path and slamming into the fortress's energy shield like a raging meteor. Blinding golden light erupted from the tip of his trident. It was the raw power of antimatter annihilation. The supposedly indestructible energy shield shattered like a soap bubble without losing a shred of momentum. Yi Chuan tore straight through the fortress's outer wall and crashed into the central chamber. As the dust settled, Wen stepped out of the ruins, gripping his trident. 12 elders, who had been in the middle of a ritual, were blown off their feet by the massive shockwave. Every single one of them was left covered in dirt, looking utterly pathetic. Yi Chuan stepped forward and crushed the Grand Elder's mask under his boot, revealing the hideous, half-human, half-monster face beneath. Why aren't you chanting anymore? Did you forget your lines? The Grand Elder stared up at Yi Chuan in sheer terror as black tentacles erupted from his body, whipping around frantically in a desperate attempt to attack. With a casual thrust, Yi Chuan pinned the Grand Elder to the floor. Golden energy surged down the trident and into the tentacles, burning them to ashes amid agonizing screams. Don't be in such a hurry to die, Yi Chuan said, looking coldly at the remaining 11 elders. Tell me, what exactly is the Abyss? And why did you open the gates to these monsters? Too late. It's already too late. One of the elders cackled hysterically. The portal inside the black vortex in the center of the round table
has already opened.
The Great Spirit Lord has already cast his gaze upon us.
You are all going to die. Every single one of you will become nourishment for the Spirit Lord. Before he could even finish his sentence,
The black vortex suddenly expanded violently.
swallowing the entire round table in an instant.
It then transformed into a colossal pillar of black light.
Tearing straight through the fortress's dome and shooting high into the heavens. A soul-crushing dread swept through the room, making everyone tremble to their very core.
Yitron snapped his head up.
Inside that beam of black light,
A colossal hand covered in scales and writhing eyes slowly emerged.
The hand was so massive that just a single finger was over 100 meters long.
Following it was a gargantuan head.
With a face so grotesque it defied description.
It was covered in compound eyes and gaping mouths.
Dripping with burning green acid.
Red warning screens from the system flashed frantically, completely filling Yechuan's vision.
Yitron takes a deep breath.
Well, this is getting interesting. The colossal monster hasn't even fully emerged yet.
Just showing half of its body is already enough to fill the entire ocean floor. 1. Its countless compound eyes locked dead onto you.
It unleashes a sound that vibrates directly inside his brainwaves.
System owner, found you. The voice is like millions of bugs crawling around inside his head.
It's enough to drive anyone insane.
Looking for me? Yitron raises an eyebrow. What's the matter?
Looking to inherit my credit card debt? Hand over the origin source.
Or else.
Perish! The monster roars as its massive claw lunges straight at Yechuan.
This strike carries the absolute power of spatial lock. There is absolutely no escape.
Yitron feels the space around him freeze solid. He cannot move a single muscle.
So this is the power of a level 3 civilization. It actually manipulates the laws of reality itself.
Chipon, watch out!
Shin Yunshu's terrified scream pierces through the communicator.
Don't panic, Yichuan mutters, closing his eyes. He takes a slow, deep breath.
System, I want to buy a cheap.
Understood, host? What do you wish to purchase?
I want to buy the ownership of this entire dimension. The system goes dead silent for a second.
Seemingly stunned by the sheer audacity of Yuquan's request.
Replying to host.
To purchase ownership of the Earth dimension, it will cost 100 billion trillion tycoon points.
Host's current balance is insufficient. Who said I wanted to buy Earth? Who said I wanted to buy Earth?
Chipuan snaps his eyes open.
The golden light in his eyes instantly shifts to a chaotic gray. I am buying the protagonist Halo. For this exact second. Special item detected based on host's intent. Initiating absolute contract, son of the dimension.
Duration, 10 seconds. Price, complete forfeiture of all remaining assets.
Do you wish to proceed? All assets will be wiped out.
Wiped out? That's hundreds of billions.
No, trillions of dollars. Yutuan doesn't hesitate for a single fraction of a second. Do it.
If the money's gone, I can make it back.
But if I die, or if this planet gets blown to pieces, then the game is over for good. The game is over for good.
Host's current balance, 0.
Activating Son of the Dimension mode.
For the next 10 seconds.
You are the absolute chosen one of this universe.
An indescribable mighty power surged through Yechuan's body.
The suffocating barrier locking down the space instantly shattered. Chikawan moved, but instead of dodging that massive incoming hand,
he charged straight toward it. The trident in his hand vanished in a flash.
In its place, a seemingly ordinary frying pan appeared. That's right. This was the legendary divine weapon gifted to him by the system.
Eat this,
Yuchun Lord.
He slammed the frying pan hard against the Abyss Lord's massive finger, letting out a sharp, satisfying clang.
Then, the unthinkable happened.
That monster with planet-destroying power,
the Abalurt, known as a level 3 civilization lifeform,
actually had its finger completely shattered by a single blow from a frying pan. The monster let out a roar of absolute agony and sheer confusion. It couldn't comprehend this. This made absolutely no sense.
I'm not done yet.
Ichan's figure blurred, instantly appearing, right in front of the monster's colossal eyeball.
This one is for all the innocent people you killed.
A massive compound eye exploded,
spewing green, disgusting fluid everywhere. This one is because you're too damn ugly.
And you terrified my Yun-Si. Another giant eyeball burst open.
And this last one is because you made me go flat broke.
Moving like a glitchy, overpowered meme on fast forward.
The frying pan in Yuquan's hand blurred into a million afterimages.
Within a matter of seconds,
he unleashed thousands of brutal strikes right onto that giant face.
Every single hit triggered an absolute critical strike.
An absolute stun.
Can completely bypass the monster's defenses.
The Abyss Lord was beaten completely senseless, feeling a long-lost sensation of pure terror.
This human is not normal.
This power, it's a causality strike that defies the laws of nature.
Now, get back to your cesspool.
At the final moment, John leaped high into the air,
singing the pan with every ounce of his strength right into the monster's forehead.
Gone. The Abyss Lord's colossal body
was violently smashed all the way back into the dark vortex by that single blow.
I
will return.
The monster roared in desperate, unwilling rage
as its body fell uncontrollably, plummeting back into the abyss.
Before the vortex closes, Yutron pulls out a budget version of a 2-vector foil he redeemed from the shop.
It's just a little slip of paper with a goofy face drawn on it.
Here's a little gift for you. Something to kill time on your way back. Yutron casually tosses the paper into the vortex.
Goodbye.
Instantly, the vortex violently contracts, and under the power of that tiny slip of paper, space begins to collapse and flatten. The portal that once led straight to the abyss is instantly compressed into a flat painting, a 2-dimensional oil painting floating in the empty void.
Inside the frame is the monster's utterly terrified face.
Then, everything falls dead silent. Son of the plane mode deactivated. Congratulations, host, on unlocking the Godslayer achievement. Current assets, 0. Yutron floats in the empty underwater ruins, staring at the absolute devastation around him, and the 12 bodies of the elders, shattered by the energy shockwaves. Cats his pockets. Seriously? Not a single cent left. I don't even have enough for a cab back to Jiangcheng.
Impulse really is the devil.
以传赛事
Just then, a submarine slowly approaches. It's Chen Yushu, piloting the Qianfa's escape pod to come get him. The hatch opens, and Shen Yushu swims out, throwing caution to the wind, holding each one in a tight embrace. We won! We actually won. Yeah, we won. Yechuan chuckles bitterly. But Yunshu, I've got some bad news. What is it? Shen Yunshu asks, looking at him nervously. I'm broke, totally penniless. A certified pauper.
Shen Yushu freezes for a second,
And then bursts out laughing. Got Mujetron's face in the water. She smiles. It doesn't matter. You used to take care of me. From now on, it's my turn to spoil you. Don't forget, I'm now the head of the Wu Group.
the Shen Group, and the Atlantic Bank.
Yutren smiles too. Well, looks like I'm definitely living off of you now. The two of them break through the ocean surface,
Bathing in the long-awaited sunlight, the raging waves of the Pacific have finally quieted down.
but Yutron knows this is only a temporary peace. The parting words of the Abyss Lords still echo in his mind. Plus, the system's hints about the Prime Seed. Yeah, all point to a much bigger secret. What exactly is the system? And why are those higher dimensional beings so desperate to seize it? Host detected completing all combat missions of Phase 2. Ultimate mission initiated. The origin of the system. Host, please proceed to Kunlun Mountain's Valley of Death. The remains of the previous system host are buried there. Yutron stared at the virtual panel before him, his eyes narrowing slightly. The remains of the previous host. It looks like this story doesn't end with a simple billionaire's comeback. No, this is a game plan spanning tens of thousands of years. Gungu Yu, head back and pack our things, Yichuan said, staring at the distant skyline.
It is time for our final stop.
To uncover the truth behind all of this. Kunlun Mountain's Valley of Death. This place is known as the Gate of Fel. Raging thunderstorms here all year round, and the magnetic field is completely chaotic. For hundreds of years, countless herders and explorers have perished here, leaving not even a trace of their bones behind. Yet today, the thunder here rumbles more violently than ever before. A bolt of purple lightning tears through the sky, slamming brutally into the snow-covered valley floor. A massive, pitch-black warship, the heavenly punishment, completely ignored the raging storm. One strong enough to instantly vaporize a tank. Like a moving fortress of steel, it slowly descended into the deepest depths of the Valley of Death. The hatch doors hissed open. The freezing wind howled.
Yutron walked out, holding Shen Yushu's hand.
He was no longer wearing his combat armor, dressed instead in a simple black windbreaker. Yet his eyes were deeper than the icy snows of Kunlun. Is this the end?
This is differently the Sabiyamasa.
She Yingsu looked at the bones of cattle and sheep scattered across the ground, feeling a sudden wave of dread. It is the end, but also the beginning. Tuan shed, looking at the radar screen. The glowing dot representing the Prime Seed was burning red hot right beneath their feet. Let's begin. Long Yi and the waiting Shadow Legion immediately fired up 2 giant laser drills, setting them to work on the massive black rock at the bottom of the valley. As the rock melted under the extreme heat, a jaw-dropping secret slowly revealed itself. That was no rock at all. It was an ancient, majestic bronze starship, buried deep underground for countless millennia. Its design was ancient and desolate, its surface etched with intricate cloud and thunder patterns. The hilt was shaped like a fierce starling dragon's head. Though battered by the relentless passage of time, it still radiated a suffocating, majestic, imperial aura. This is the Qin dynasty style. Could the legends of the first emperor's tomb be more than just stories?
Yutron took a deep breath,
Grabbed Shen Yuchu's hand, and jumped into the breached entrance. Welcome to the first Emperor's command ship. The interior of the ship wasn't as dark as they expected.
The moment Yutron stepped onto the bridge,
Countless everlasting lights, actually nuclear fusion cold lamps, instantly flickered to life. In the very center of the hall sits a massive throne cast in dark gold. On that throne sat a skeleton draped in a black imperial robe. Even though he was reduced to bone, he still kept his hand resting on his longsword,
gazing defiantly up at the heavens.
that raw aura of, if I have it, it is my blessing, and if not, it is my fate. spanning over 2,000 years.
Stay made one want to drop to their knees and worship.
In front of the skeleton,
There hovered a crystal emitting a soft, white glow. The spark of civilization.
System, is this your previous host?
Yukon asked softly.
Yes.
The system's cold, mechanical voice actually carried a trace of human-like weariness at this moment.
the previous host was Yingzheng.
Codename, Ancestral Dragon.
System, version 1.0, Civilization Hegemony Edition. To fend against the first wave of the Abyss's invasion,
He exhausted all of his system points, forcibly overdrawing his life force to activate the 9 provinces barrier and the Great Wall Orbital Defense System.
in the end, he perished after enduring the tribulation.
Chitron felt a deep sense of reverence.
So building the Great Wall wasn't just to keep out the Zannu, it was to defend against the hunters in the sky.
Just then, the source seed suddenly began to vibrate, and a holographic image was projected from the skeleton.
It was a majestic, middle-aged man. Though it was just a projection,
Those eyes felt as if they could pierce through time and space.
the voice of the first emperor, Yingzheng, echoed through the grand hall, carrying a rich, ancient Qin cadence.
When you see this projection,
I will no longer be of this world.
I unified the 6 states,
Standardized the script and the roads, thinking it would bring eternal peace to China for 10,000 generations. But alas, there are always worlds beyond ours. Those greedy predators of the abyss. They coveted Earth coordinates.
I poured the entire nation's wealth into building the 12 golden colossal giant mechas
And constructed the Great Wall.
as an orbital railgun array. Though it temporarily repelled them, I knew they would eventually return.
I have left Lien. Prime. Core. It records my unfulfilled grand ambition and seals my final legacy.
If you are someone who carries the weight of the world in your heart,
Then fuse with it and guard this beautiful land for me.
the projection faded.
Hujan remained silent for a long moment.
Then, taking a step forward,
He reached out and grasped the Prime Core.
"Rest easy, ancestor."
With determination in his eyes, Yitran muttered, "The war you didn't finish, I will fight."
The money you left unspent, I'll spend it for you.
Instantly, the Prime Core fused into Juan's palm.
And a massive flood of complex information surged into his mind. It was the memories of Yingzheng,
The blueprints of ancient technology.
and the command authority over Earth's entire defense system.
At the exact moment Yutron fused with the Prime Core,
A sudden anomaly erupted outside.
the sky above Mount Kunlu collapsed in an instant. This was no longer a minor, harmless crack like before. The entire canopy of heaven had turned blood red. Countless colossal black warships swarmed out of the dimensional rift like locusts.
It was the main fleet of the Abyss civilization.
They had finally locked onto Earth's coordinates.
System-wide warning initiated. Warning, planet killer strike detected. Enemy fleet count, 100,000.
Estimated countdown to Earth's destruction. 10 minutes.
Shen and Shu stared at the alarm on her wrist, her face turning deathly pale.
Yuchuan. Can we really stop them this time?
There are 100,000 starships up there,
Yutron slowly opened his eyes. His pupils had turned completely gold.
radiating the absolute majesty of the administrator. He glanced at his zeroed-out personal account, then at the glittering legacy account shining like a brilliant star on the system panel. Yuchan laughed. His laugh was wild and arrogant.
Why hold back?
Since my ancestors left me this legacy,
It was meant for me to squander. Taking Shen Yunchu's hand, Yuchuan walked out of the ancient chamber.
standing at the highest peak of Death Valley,
They directly faced the alien fleet, pressing down from the heavens.
he raised his hand and snapped his fingers at the sky.
System, I want to make a purchase.
Please state your request, host. I want to buy this segment of history.
Awaken the 12 Golden Titan mechas.
Awaken the Great Wall Star Ring Defense Matrix.
Awaken the 1 million strong Qin Phantom Legion.
Payment method, 5,000 years of Hokusai's national fortune. Payment successful. Awakening initiated. The next second, the entire land of China erupted. Beneath the mausoleum of the first Qin emperor in Sha, the ground shook violently. The massive burial mound exploded with a deafening roar. These were no mere clay statues.
The clay outer shells of thousands upon thousands of terracotta warriors instantly peeled away, revealing the cold, gleaming nanometal bodies beneath. Their eyes flared with an ominous red light.
And the bronze swords in their hands, instantly plasma activated.
An earth-shattering battle cry echoed through the heavens.
As 1 million mechanical Qin warriors soared into the sky. At the exact same time,
At the Sanyang ruins, 12,000-meter-tall giant bronze mechas erupted from the earth.
Each one radiated massive energy fluctuations comparable to a nuclear power plant.
Gripping giant axes and massive halberds.
like ancient demon gods awakened from their slumber.
Even more shocking, the ancient Great Wall, winding for 10,000 miles, suddenly lit up with a brilliant golden light.
The outer stones crumbled away.
Revealing the superconducting railgun array buried underneath for 2,000 years.
What on earth is this?
High in the sky, the commander of the Abyss Fleet stared down at the planet that had suddenly sprung to life, his tentacles phrasing in sheer terror. Who gave you the right to look down on my empire?
Yitran's voice, amplified to the extreme, echoed across the entire globe, exploding directly inside the minds of every single alien. With a wave of his hand,
The 10,000-mile Great Wall transformed into a massive golden dragon. Countless antimatter beams shot into the sky,
instantly vaporizing the first wave of the alien vanguard fleet.
12 titans leaped high into the clouds,
And with every swing of their giant weapons, they blew up a 1,000-meter-long mothership.
a million specters surged forward,
like a black tide, crashing into the enemy lines.
engaging in a brutal boarding battle.
This was a slaughter that transcended time and space.
The most furious roar of Earth civilization against its predators,
Jiquan stood at the peak of Mount Kunlun.
watching the magnificent fireworks display.
Yonshu, is it beautiful?
Shen Yanshu was completely spellbound,
Tears blurring her eyes.
It's beautiful. This is the most expensive fireworks show I've ever seen.
No, we're not done yet.
Yitran looked up at the largest flagship in the sky, the Abyss Mothership.
Since I'm blowing my wealth anyway.
Let's do it to the absolute extreme.
Yituan raised his hand once again.
System, for my final purchase, I'm buying Earth's ascension.
Push this planet to a level 4 civilization for me.
Payment confirmed. Consuming all remaining destiny. Loading planetary engines. Loading quantum shields. Loading causality law weapons. Earth's ascension. Begin! A blinding white light, powerful enough to illuminate the entire Milky Way, erupted from the core of the Earth. In that split second,
The Abyss fleet was like snow under the scorching sun.
not even a speck of dust remained, completely erased by the law of causality. Earth did not grow in physical size, but its energy level leaped to a whole new dimension at this very moment. From now on, this blue planet will become a true forbidden zone in the universe. 3 months later, the Abyss retreated, and civilization restarted. Despite enduring a catastrophic war, under the restoration of Yutron's superpower, the cities were not only restored to their original glory,
But became even more futuristic.
The Sky Garden on the rooftop of 4KP
has now been transformed into a crystal palace, floating high in the clouds. At the wedding venue, Shen Yunshu stands wearing a breathtaking wedding dress called Alluring Love.
This masterpiece was crafted by Yurtuan, using core materials
From the Abyss Mothership, fused with deep-sea pearls, making its value truly beyond measure. She looks breathtakingly beautiful. Clinging to her father's arm,
She walks step by step down the red carpet toward the man at the end, Yichuan.
today, he is the universally recognized ruler of Earth, the guardian of human civilization.
Yet, he still smiles like an excited young boy.
His eyes locked onto his beautiful bride walking toward him.
Little Tamkan, dressed in a flower-grows gown, trots happily behind, holding up the train of the dress, grinning from ear to ear. Mr. Yitran, serving as the marriage witness, Elder Chan's face glows with sheer excitement. Do take Miss Shen Yunshu to be your lawful wedded wife.
To love her in sickness and in health, for richer or for poorer.
At the mention of the word poor, the guests below burst into warm, knowing laughter. After all, who in the world doesn't know? Though Yitran's personal bank account balance currently sits at 0, he literally owns the entire planet.
I do. Yet Zhuan looks deep into Shen Yunshu's eyes and speaks with absolute devotion.
Do you take Mr. Yu Chan to be your husband? Whether I do. Before Elder Chan can even finish his sentence, Shen Yunsu eagerly blurts out her answer, sending the entire crowd into a roar of laughter and cheers. Amidst a shower of petals and roaring cheers, the two hold each other tight, sharing a deep, passionate kiss. Right at that moment, the long silent system notification rings in Yichuan's mind. Ding! Congratulations, host, on completing all main missions. The God-level Tycoon Systems mission is now complete. Initiating unbinding sequence. Departing to search for the next spark of civilization. As a parting gift, the host will retain the golden physique, granting you permanent peak physical power. Goodbye, host. May you live a life of eternal happiness in this world you bought with your own hands. Yichun freezes for a moment, unbound. The system that had guided his journey from a simple delivery boy to the king of the world, is it really leaving? Faint, bittersweet sense of loss wells up in his heart. But very quickly, he lets it go, because he could feel the warmth of Yunshu in his arms.
During Top Tong's sweet laughter,
And saw the heartfelt blessings from everyone in the crowd. He didn't need the system anymore. He already possessed the most precious treasure in the world. Yi Quan? What's wrong? Yushu noticed him drifting off and asked softly.
Chan snapped out of it.
Looking at the woman he loved so deeply,
And flashed his brightest smile. Nothing. Just, my secret stash of cash got confiscated. Yunshu burst out laughing, leaned in close, her warm breath brushing his ear as she whispered, "It's okay. Tonight, I'm all yours. Besides, I put the 100 billion the company made into this card. The pin is your birthday."
Yungshu quietly slipped the card into Yachuan's hand.
Dechechen stared at the card, then at his blushing, beautiful wife.
Suddenly he realized that living off his rich wife felt absolutely amazing.
Honey, let's go on our honeymoon. Where to?
Yuquan looked up at the vast starry sky.
I heard the sunset on Mars are beautiful.
Since we already bought Earth, we might as well go and develop Mars next.
Stop it, you big spendthrift.
The sun was shining warm. The breeze was gentle.
And Yuchuan held Yunshu close.
Under the watchful eyes of the entire world.
We walked hand in hand toward their happily ever after.
And the legend of the ultimate billionaire tycoon will echo beneath these stars forever.